Hell's Kitchen is my neighborhood. I prowl the rooftops and the alleyways at night. In the darkness.
I prowl the massage parlors.
Forever in the darkness.
I am Elton John.
A blind guardian. A watchful protector.
It's not the spirit, too.
A dark knight.
It's not Batman.
Oh, wait, I mean, this is the Daredevil episode.
I was going to say,
My name is Ray Charles, and you don't want no part of this shit.
Hey, give it up for Grant.
Yeah. Guess who just got crossed off the list of ever getting to do the intro again?
Woo!
It's a lot of pressure.
Hey, I thought it was pretty inventive.
yeah.
You got Hell's Kitchen right. It's like,
Yeah, that was the giveaway for anyone who really knows the subject matter that we are, in fact, in this episode of LEOG
talking about cooking shows.
Volume 2, Issue 4, talking about cooking shows.
Yes. Top Chef, Hell's Kitchen, that Giada chick, whatever the hell her last name
It
is.
was only a matter of time before we gave in to that strong message board contingent constantly
Well,
going.
you know what? Jason has a point, though, because that neighborhood's not called Hell's Kitchen anymore. It's Clinton.
Oh, well, yeah. Because really, that tends to lower the property values.
That's true. If I got a choice between moving into Shady Oaks or Hell's Kitchen,
Yeah.
I think I know where my money's going.
You know where it's really cheap to get a house? Poop Town. But no,
Dripping sore condo.
this is Daredevil.
Wait a minute.
No,
Are
this
you
is
saying
Daredevil.
that 300,000 McMansion I just purchased in Junkie and Murderville is going to go down in value?
The title was ironic.
They're calling it Pflugerville now, so that's fine.
Why do you think you were able to get a mortgage there?
Just take a ride at Crystal Meth Valley. You'll find yourself right there.
So we've got a big show, and we've got a guest here. Unfortunately, we didn't have the full band, but Greg has agreed graciously to grace us with his other talent. No, I don't mean making love to woman, because that wouldn't really come across on a podcast. But with the guitar.
Let the humiliation begin. Of us, I mean, not him.
Anything with strings or legs, and he can play that thing like you wouldn't believe. Our guest here, we're playing tonight from a comic book store in Round Rock called Rogues Gallery, and we have the owner of said comic book store.
Hi, that'd be me. I'm Randy.
Hi, this is Randy.
I'm going to plug Randy since.
Wait a minute. That's after the show.
And the podcast takes its first of many ugly turns.
I don't remember us getting asked to do that.
If only it were just my foot I put in my mouth. Rogues Gallery is also a full-service massage parlor.
Unless you're a cop.
Okay, yeah, so Randy has been interviewing comics. He's actually pretty known on the interwebs. Interviewing comics? Did I say that?
Comics.
He's been reviewing comics for quite
How do you like that art?
He's been... Oh, shit, you do it. All right, Randy's been reviewing comics online for pretty much since the inception of internet.
Oh, good Lord.
thefourthrail.com, you can find a lot of his stuff. It's defunct now, but there's still a lot of archives there.
What? Wait, they're defunct, but we can still find them?
Yeah, well, he's not adding to it anymore, but the website's still up.
Okay, well, you said they're now defunct, so.
Well, defunct as in retired. It's an archive, and that's all it is.
It's in stasis.
Jesus Christ, I'm never going to get through this, am I?
Well, you know how it goes. Just pretend you're co-host.
Hey, don't worry. Everybody will be on your side saying that we made fun of you. So
Why don't
you'll
you
be
guys
all right.
interrupt Jason after every 5 seconds? That's all I'm saying.
He is owner-operator of this fine facility, my local, my LCS, Rogues Gallery, and he also, up until recently, wrote for ComicPants.com, which I've mentioned on the site a couple of times. And you may be too modest to say it, and as I've mentioned to Cyrus before,
Damn handsome man.
Damn handsome man, hung like a mule. Oh, you're Randy. Okay. It was Brian Michael Bendis that said if there's anyone reviewing comics right now better than Randy Lander, I don't know who it is. That's pretty much
Yeah, I don't think you'd say that now, though.
Yeah, it was taken out of context. So the next thing he said
if
was,
I ever track that rotten bastard down.
right after that, he said, no, seriously, I'm kidding. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, but you only use the first half of the quote. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, right. Randy's got cred, so welcome him with open arms, Legionnaires.
And thank you for letting us do this at your comic book store.
Oh, and by the way, we won't be posting any pictures of him, but he is incredibly hot. So.
Do you want to give your address out? I don't.
Oh, yeah. We're at 1601 I-35 in Round Rock, Texas. Yes. We're by the Outback Steakhouse in Round Rock.
Yeah, you can't miss the Outback Steakhouse from the highway. It's huge. It's like the Disney World of Outback Steakhouses.
I don't care if any of the members know that, but I would like for Google Maps to mention the Outback Steakhouse.
Yes.
And not send people down to Georgetown, Texas, and Sun City.
Because you did indeed manage to miss it. As did Jason F.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, thank
We
you.
all made that
also
mistake.
Yeah, I would mention that Grant was the one who gave you the map.
In a lot of places in Round Rock, north of Austin, if you use Google Maps, it just comes up with a dragon floating in the water.
I don't doubt it because I actually used my GPS. I was like, this map, I'll use my GPS. And it kept giving me a question mark. Like, dude, I have no idea where that is.
Here, sailors have vanished.
So we've also got another guest here. We've got the guy who runs our local, it's our only comic book con here in town, isn't it?
Until recently was the only independent comic book convention in the Southwest. Mm-hmm. That's the entire Western United States.
And
The
it's
other
called,
one
It's called Staple Independent Media Expo. It's going to be on Saturday, March 7th at the Monarch Event Center in Austin, Texas, which is near Highland Mall. It's in the Lincoln Village Shopping Center.
So anybody hearing this, by the time it posts, that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
So if you got nothing to do Saturday, or even if you have something to do, it'd be a good
This is
idea.
a better thing to
yeah,
do than
this is a
that.
better thing to do. And I've known Chris for a few years, and it's funny because before he got this going, he came to me for advice, and my advice was, don't do it, kid. You're gonna lose your shirt. But I'm glad.
Thanks, Uncle Leon.
See, I'm not wearing a shirt.
But that's just a choice, really, that you've made.
More of a lifestyle thing.
But over the years, man, he's turned this into a big thing. I got to say, I went last year, and I was amazed by how much it's evolved. And besides all the independent comics, because I know a bunch of you going like, independent comics, didn't you do that show already? There's plenty of mainstream guys who show up, too. So I'd say make it out there.
Yeah, you're going to learn something if you come. You're going to expand your horizons beyond the big two.
Yeah, you're going to see how my waistline has expanded since I started doing these because we're going to be there as well. We'll be there. The LEOG crew or various members of us at various times will be there interviewing whoever actually is brave enough to talk to us in our half-drunken states.
I forgot about that. That's right. Come meet us.
Yes. Isn't that fabulous? You can spend time with the fellows from LEOG who will probably belch loudly in your face and then pass out.
But no touching.
Yeah, no touching.
touching.
No eye contact, no touching.
Well, the hot girls
Greg-
can touch,
Greg can
except there
touch,
probably aren't any. So.
Yeah.
So, Chris,
We have a really good-looking crowd. There's always a lot of attractive, young, nerdy indie comics girls that come to Staple. I was surprised to see that.
That's
I
true.
haven't noticed
Indie
a couple
comics-
of them yet, but,
Indie Comics gets the girls as opposed to superheroes.
That's true.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of our guests this year is one of the most popular, one of the hottest indie comics guys out there, especially among young ladies and emotionally sensitive people. And that's Jeffrey Brown, who Randy could probably rattle off a few of his titles.
He's the Michael Cera movie of independent artists.
I can't do better than that. except that Michael Cera has never done a hilarious parody of Transformers. That I know of.
There we are.
We also have Stan Sakai, who does the legendary.
Oh, yeah, that was
comic,
Sulu on Star
Usagi
Trek.
Yojimbo.
Yes.
Love that guy.
And
Well,
after that,
he's awesome.
So are you saying all Asians look alike? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't want no
Stan
part of
Sakai
that.
is cool. I met him years and years ago. And I'm amazed how far he's taken that Usagi Yojimbo character.
Yeah. Which is even worse. Go, oh, your cute little bunny with a sword? That's so nice that you're still writing that. Really? So they pay you for that, huh? So what do you do for a living?
Well, I used to let her through.
Okay, fair enough.
That's saved up.
well, I was writing Grimjack until this colorist came on and it got canceled.
Hey, I'm coming for the funny Mark Evanier stories, if nothing else.
I'm dying over
So what else? What are some of the big bonuses for showing up at Staple?
Well, as mentioned, we have special guests Jeffrey Brown and Stan Sakai. Both these guys are going to be in Q&A sessions at the show. You can get up there and ask them questions like, what do you do for a living, or any other smart-ass comments you might have.
Who are you
May
kidding?
or
Your
may
mom's
not
ashamed
answer.
of you.
Chris Onstadt, we just found out, the guy who does Akewood, very popular webcomic. He's going to come out and join us. He's not in a Q&A, but he'll be at a table all day. You can go over and bug him. And not the least of things is we have about 85, 87 exhibitors of independently created comics, zines, graphic arts, games. We have some RPG publishers this year, which we hadn't had before.
Oh.
And so it's expanded. This is our 5th annual show. We've been doing this for 5 years, and it's grown quite a bit. And I think it's going to be fantastic, and I think we have a really good batch of creators that are going to be out there this year.
Will there be a bar?
There's a bar there. I don't think it'll be serving alcohol, but there'll be some tasty treats.
That would not be a bar. But you were mentioning to me that the food is going to be astounding this year,
right,
as I recall.
And the sort of a new twist on things, a very, very good friend of mine that I've known for a long time who is a sort of genius chef is going to be providing the concession this year. It's going to be like sausage chicken gumbo, Texas chili, Cuban pork sandwich.
I've gone back in time and already gone twice.
Not your typical con hot dogs, popcorn, and $5 Cokes. It's actually going to be really good stuff.
I'll kill every person in this room for a good Cuban pork sandwich.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that
me
right
too.
now.
Right.
He's done it before.
If I'm not mistaken,
We're not the first league
this
members.
is a mere $5 for the entrance fee.
Yeah, it's only going to cost you $5 to get in.
$5? The deuce, you say?
$5,
You could never
that's
get
right.
into someplace like San Diego Con for that ridiculous amount.
No, you couldn't even get out there for $5.
It's true.
and something I want to kind of go off on a tangent that something that the sagely and kind John Byrne once said. I think it was
Before he told us how all blonde Hispanic women are whores.
Yeah, he said, "What are all these black people doing here?"
Shut up and get away from my table.
I think it was John Byrne. He said, if I could be wrong, but anyway, some old bastard said, "I don't have." He was a writer, and he said, "I don't have fans. I just have people who want my job," and so yeah.
Okay.
So I can't remember
job.
exactly who said it, but I'm pretty sure it was John Byrne. But anyway, this
And the moral of this story is, if you go to a con and you see Neil Adams, don't look him in the eyes, kid. He'll cut you. He'll cut you dead.
But if you have any interest in creating comics, I mean, you can ping these people because they've gone the hard road of doing it themselves, and you can glean them for info on how to do it yourself.
Pick their brains, because it's kind of what it's all about. Like a lot of folks this year, first-time exhibitors. There'll be some really young, bright-eyed guys who haven't been burnt out yet that are sitting there selling their very first mini comic, and then from them all the way up to 25-year veterans like Stan Sakai, and it's mainly people who are doing it because they love it. They love comics, and they have to express themselves, and they need to do it. In fact, the reason I got into doing this myself is I self-published some comics with a collaborator of mine, buddy of mine, and he has a table at the show, and he'll be selling our comics there. We have 2 titles right now. I'm going to go ahead and plug my comics because I can do that.
No,
Exactly.
Part of the deal. Sorry.
Come on!
Get the fuck out! Matthew Murdoch was.
So Daredevil. No.
Damn it! But our current book we're working on right now is called That Damned Cat, and it's sort of...
Sounds good to me.
It's inspired by...
It's not that damned lolcat, Cyrus.
sorry.
Calm down.
It's actually inspired by a true story. This true story of Oscar the Death Cat, the cat that knows when people are going to die.
Yeah, sure. There was a pretty popular internet meme for a while. I mean, CNN was doing stories on this cat that lived in a nursing home, and
Right.
it was like the Grim Reaper cat.
Essentially,
It would
yeah.
predict
So it's not so much
which one of the
that
people would
damn
die.
cat as that damned cat.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
That
damned
damn
cat is the
scary
name of the book.
death cat.
And it was 6 months before they realized it was the cat that was killing people.
Yeah.
Right.
It would have
Like a
seemed
Stephen
obvious, but
Bad kitty.
we
Yeah,
heard
so this is an
story on the
incognito,
news,
then.
and we were kind of inspired by it and came up with a weird Twilight Zone-y kind of twist. I like to describe it as a supernatural black comedy. The cat is the main character. He narrates it, and he's very foul-mouthed and irascible.
It should be known that the cat in question is a panther.
Right. Why they would have a panther in a nursing home?
It was Texas law. It was just Texas law. You gotta have a panther, or a tiger, or a leopard.
Yeah, it's a weird. It was from the 1880s, and it's just one of those laws that they haven't changed.
It's still on the books.
Hey, y'all, welcome to Texas. This is my kitty cat, T'Challa.
It's not actually a cat either. It's actually a large black
law,
man.
so you can do that, but you got to have a panther in your fucking.
And that's where the comedy part comes in.
Yeah.
Or you could commit sodomy as long as you had the panther.
Or sodomy on a panther.
I have seen that episode of Thundercats, and it was disturbing.
Well, it looks like that disease that causes people to have huge claw marks all over their bodies struck old Mr. Jones again.
Well, now,
so that's why when I screwed Natasha Kinski, I had to spend those 3 weeks in the ER.
Another
VD.
comic book I have to.
yeah. No, please tell us about the other one.
It was the first project that my friend Dave and I did together was essentially a noir crime story set in 60s Chicago, and we did that over a few years. Collected it was 7 issues, which we've collected into a trade paperback, which you'll be able to buy for the low price of $10. We just reformatted it, and it has 240 pages.
For $10.
For $10.
60s Chicago, with the 60s Chicago police force made the current Gotham City police force look like Mayberry RFD.
Right.
So by listening to this, LEOG, you have legally, contractually, obligatorily said that you will buy this. So, sorry.
Absolutely.
If you don't buy it, the cops will be at your door.
The Chicago cops from the 60s, too, not these pussy-ass cops.
Now,
You bring a comic book, we bring a graphic novel. He brings a lead figure, we bring a whole diorama.
Silly,
That's the Chicago way.
silly dorks, bringing a Dungeon and Dragon figure to a Warhammer convention.
Why do you sound Scottish instead of Irish? Shut up!
no, Chris, I wanted to ask. I mean, speaking of like not the young guys who still have a light in their eye, but old burnout guys. I thought I read the other day that that John Lucas is going to be there. John
Lucas is in fact going to be there. He's I believe going to be hanging at the Austin Creators table. Thanks, Randy.
Sweet. Okay, so it's the Austin Creators table. John Lucas is he's been an artist and inker for DC and Marvel Comics, and he's one of the guys that I started with. And I haven't seen him in years, so I'm looking forward to having this reunion.
He owes you money, doesn't he?
Some of these old guys do creep out of the woodworks and come to my IndieCon anyway. We'll let them in. It's no problem.
Yeah, you work for DC, but I guess you can come in.
That's fine. It's
Hey,
all right.
Jeff Loeb's not going to show up, is he? Because we got problems with that fella in these parts.
Well, maybe we could arrange a rumble.
Or Joe Quesada.
Done.
In fact, we're starting to get a list, aren't we? Grant Morrison, Joe Quesada.
It's just those three.
We can't go anywhere.
Now, somebody posted that picture of the
anti-league.
The anti-league, or whatever they were calling it. Remember that Photoshop
the League
picture?
of the League of
Yes.
Supervillains.
Like
or
George
whatever.
Lucas.
Dane Cook was in
Cook.
there.
Yeah.
Dan DiDio, Joe Quesada, Tim Burton.
Yeah.
You might pull up the website www.staple-austin.org. That's www.staple-austin.org, and you can see the entire exhibitor list. Everybody,
and it's
going to be
huge.
there. It's huge. There's a good, like I say, I tried to count and discern about 87.
87
distinct exhibitors. Yeah.
Damn. That's like San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah, and at least as many.
Except
indie
it's
artists.
$5. And it's gumbo. That's
And we'll be there.
And
Drunk.
the dude from Star Trek.
Yes.
Greg will be easier than ever to take advantage of.
Not as many stormtroopers to force your way through.
True.
That's funny. Starting out, the very first year, I got an email from the manager of the actress who was in Tron.
Huh?
There was an actress in Tron.
Tron and the movie with the gopher, the golfing movie.
Caddyshack?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the girl who lives in Austin.
Yeah.
She lives in Austin?
Isn't that the girl? No, I'm thinking the girl from Fletch.
Andy McDowell?
Yeah, the girl from Fletch.
Is she the same girl?
No,
that's
That's
not
Dana
Grandma.
Wheeler Nicholson.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I don't know.
Anyway,
But you got an email.
Her manager was like, "Hey, do you want her to come to your convention? It's a small fee." And I was like, "Thanks for emailing."
Is she going to dress up like Power Girl?
Yeah.
So instead, Chris
No.
kidnapped her and has her in his basement.
Wait a minute, then who do I have in my basement?
Hey, it's been a while since she's made a movie. If he had her trapped in her basement, there's still nobody looking for her. Am I wrong?
Well, only in your presumption that you have to have made a movie for anyone to care about you on any
There's
level.
a fan
but-
website out there for everybody.
Seems like a very nice lady. She does a lot of charity work.
Not
Apparently not
appearing
Staple.
at Staple, yeah.
Basement?
Well, damn right. I'm not gonna live down there for free.
For every drop of lotion I put on my skin, I give a little lotion back to the poor
It's hard to, for her
before I am butchered and flayed.
it's hard for her to talk about the St. Jude's Foundation with that gag in her mouth.
But it sure is funny to watch her try. All right, well, we are going to move on now. However much Leon likes to keeps bringing us back as Uber promotion guy.
Yeah. So one more thing, real quick, Chris. Do you have any of your own websites where people can order your comics?
Oh yeah, good question.
That
Thank
is
you,
a good
Jason.
question, and the bad answer is no.
Aw.
So basically, they got to either track you
got
down
to come to Staples.
or come to Staple.
Yeah.
Damn it, you want the damned cat, and you got to go to Staple to get it. After the show, the fun's not over, because we're going to have a live art show downtown at Bread 7 that evening. So it's always a big throwdown.
There's always lots of drinking at those things.
A lot of drinking, and you get to see people making art live. You can purchase that art if you so desire, and
Especially if you're drunk.
Most especially if you're drunk. And the money from the sales of the art goes to benefit Co-op Radio.
Cool. Dig it.
Very flammable co-op radio.
Yeah.
I love that radio station, but it has burned down 3 fucking times. Yes.
The same arsonist guy, right? That was doing that.
Well, at least,
And it was at least one uptime.
It was a disgruntled employee who burned it down over the fact that they didn't do his playlist right.
I think he might be a rogue fire inspector testing the flammability in the most hardcore way.
Statistically, it almost has to be the same
Take
guy.
that,
The
safety
same-
concerns.
Damn 1960 Chicago policeman again.
What's the point? Your place is burned down to the third time. You just go, that is so weird.
Can I have my insurance money now?
I have swag for you guys.
What?
Oh, swag.
too?
I can come bearing gifts here.
It's true.
All right.
I will definitely take swag.
He's handing out staple
Thank you.
buttons.
Oh,
Staple
sweet.
buttons.
Thank you, sir.
Do these get us in?
No, but if you lick them, it's like it's got LSD on it.
It's completely covered with blotter acid.
Man, I'm going to be tripping tonight.
I've heard you're not supposed to double up though, so I probably should keep this for later.
Wait till the second half of the show when we're high as a
the free
kite.
passes. Here we go.
Very cool. Well, that is awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. I am embarrassed to admit this. I have not been to a convention, like any sort of comic or sci-fi or fantasy convention, since the early 90s when William Shatner came to the Austin Convention Center.
Well, Little Shatner goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. And you know what? I'll bet money right now that he's still doing that exact same routine at conventions.
Oh, you can get one?
What do you need one for, Greg? You're not going to, it's not like you're going to have any idea what's
Don't
going
pretend
on.
you're going to go, Greg.
No. You know he's going to go, and he's going to bounce out of there so fast, there'll just be a Greg after image there.
Well, he'll find an indie chick and bounce with her.
Well, that's true.
Last year, and here's incentive. Last year wasn't Ruby Rocket there?
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
She was dressed up in a Batgirl outfit.
Oh, nice.
Until I got her up.
Leon just went somewhere in his head that was scary.
Sorry about that. What were we doing again?
I think we all went there. It was getting a little crowded.
It's one of those fantasies where I'm kind of standing there. I'm like, oh, yeah. Grant?
Fucking sword fight.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
Hey, as long as I'm in there somewhere, I'm okay.
Not now that there's a sword
She's a
fight.
beautiful woman. She's no Yvonne Craig. Let's move on.
Egon said never cross the streams, okay? So, that would be bad.
And we all knew what he was really talking about. Anyway, on to Daredevil.
Who's that?
And that's it. I got nothing really. I didn't do any prep for this at all.
He dresses
No.
in red. He fights crime.
So
Done
we all
and
know
done.
Now,
the
Cyrus,
best.
you're changing things up because usually you don't say like, okay, now on to our main topic. You go, okay, now there's some questions.
Yeah, I'm not doing
And the
that this
second
time.
question
Yeah.
leads us right into.
I don't have the. I had a couple of the questions that were like that, like the. I know you're going to ask this because you almost have to address this to go if you're discussing Daredevil. I'm like, no, you don't get your name mentioned. That
We need a question buffer, man.
Exactly.
I have all the right questions. Relax.
You buff now.
Daredevil is secretly Ben Affleck. Lives a life. What? Is that not right? I should have done more research than
Matt
I
Damon
am.
is Foggy Nelson.
Okay, it's based on a comic. It started in 1964 with one of the only superheroes who I think ever actually debuted in his own title comic.
True.
And
Yeah.
unlike these days, despite low readership, he managed to go for like over 2 decades without anybody ever really picking up a rhythm on the guy. I mean, he went through like 5-6 different writers.
Yeah, it wasn't well.
throughout,
It wasn't
throughout
until
the 70s.
1979 that he started really selling a lot of books with Frank Miller.
And it was great writers and really great art.
Well,
for
the
that
weird
matter.
thing about Daredevil is that to be such a second, almost third-tier character, he always had great creative teams.
Yeah.
Most of the time, decent writers, and the artists. He had like maybe
yeah.
the best run of artists of any.
Some of my
character.
favorite artists, Mean Gene Colan,
Yeah.
definitely
Hey,
did one
Wally
of his
Wood,
best runs there.
the father of
Wally
of
Wood,
comic book art.
Joe Orlando, who
The
almost
Flash. Yeah.
Joe Orlando rarely did anything for Marvel, and he did some of the I believe issue 5, 6, and 7, somewhere around there. But he did a run on it, and they're just gorgeous. They're some of the best illustrated stuff from the Marvel Silver Age.
In the
as far as I'm concerned.
early days when Bill Everett was the main artist for it, Steve Ditko was actually doing almost all the backgrounds because
Right.
Everett apparently was so late in turning in his work
Sure.
regularly. They had to get a much better artist to come do the
Hey,
background
man,
work.
don't shit on Bill Everett.
I'm
He was
not,
really good on
but
his
if I'm
own.
going to go versus Steve Ditko, I'm going to go with Steve Ditko. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's you.
Okay, that's
Wally Wood. We also had
the
a
Flash.
big John Romita.
Yeah.
Johnny Ring-a-Ding Romita doing
yeah.
did a really long run. Brought in one of Daredevil's main nemesis.
Wait,
Nemesis
time out.
was- yeah.
Why are you naming them like they're boxers? Mean Gene Colan,
Yeah.
Johnny Ring-a-Ding
Because
Romita.
that's how they
That's how they
that's
credit
how they
those guys.
credit them in the bullpen. Didn't you read
Yeah.
Silver Age Marvel comics?
And I thought Gene Colan did the best work of his career
Mean
when he
Gene
was
Colan?
on. Yeah, Mean Gene Colan. He was
did.
on Daredevil in the '70s during the time that Daredevil was teamed up with the Black Widow all the
And
time.
comic books in the 70s?
They had
I started
many
reading
things.
comic books during the Extinction Agenda. I don't know if you've heard about that. Come on, Strife.
Wow.
Cable's clone.
You know what?
Get up to the
There's
times
something I was
there,
going to
buddy.
bust you on later, and I thought, no, he's my teammate. I won't do that. But that protection's off.
Look
now.
me in the eye.
Yeah, Colin actually had it for the longest, 74 to 79, before Miller ended up taking over later. But he was the guy who found the rhythm for Daredevil.
And
finally
He also
for a
came
while.
back in the
Yes, he
in the
did.
90s.
He had an
Because
8-issue
you
run.
had Bob Brown and Gil Kane in there. And man, Bob Brown was one of those guys who I thought never really got the credit he should have. No, like nobody ever sang his praises. And I thought he was awesome on the book.
Nobody's going to talk while I take a drink of
You
beer.
cannot
Thanks,
take a
guys.
drink. They're constantly looking at you to bounce it back. And if you're over there taking a drink, then nothing happens.
You have to have the looks of approval. Yes, good. Now you.
Well, you seem like you were setting something up. It was like you were making a statement, but me and Bo were firing back and forth in between the cracks.
I know. Y'all playing racquetball over here. I'm like, but I'm fine.
Suffice to say that Daredevil kind of had a hard time finding its rhythm. It had some good runs. I mean, one of my favorite writers, Jerry Conway, was on there for a long time. He came off of doing Spider-Man, and he was one of my favorite Spider-Man writers. But it wasn't until Frank Miller started taking over. He started out as the artist in 1979, and then later and I think it was it Micheline doing the writing?
No, Michelini wrote one issue. It was, damn it. Okay, not Ralph Macchio, because he was the editor.
Well, 168 was when Miller started
Yeah, it's
writing.
not the
Not-
Karate
not
Kid.
the
I
Karate
was
Kid,
waiting
Ralph
for you,
Macchio.
Joe. No, not the Karate Kid.
Come on,
It was
Bo.
Roger McKenzie.
Roger
I guess.
McKenzie, thank
was
you.
was doing the
Right.
and then Miller started like contributing so much that he eventually just
Well,
took
what
the damn thing
happened
over.
was they were ready to cancel the book.
Yeah.
And Jim Shooter was the editor was the editor in chief of Marvel.
Back when Jim Shooter still had his non-alien taken over brain.
Right. And he loved Frank Miller, and Frank was like, "Look, if nobody cares about this book, is it okay if I write it?" And he's like, "What the fuck? Sure, go ahead, knock yourself out, kid."
What could you do?
Yeah. And boy,
Try
what did he do?
speedball while you're at it.
I mean, because what Frank Miller did on Daredevil, For all the things that have happened since that have certainly made their big contributions, what he did on Daredevil is what changed comics forever.
Well, before Miller took over, Daredevil was kind of he was like a swashbuckler. He was like a daring do and that sort of
Well,
thing.
he was very much second-rate Spider-Man in a lot of ways. That's what made him hard to write. Yeah.
And then after Miller, he said, no, he's really more of a ninja. Miller brought in that whole idea of ninjas. He introduced Elektra. He made Bullseye an interesting character, which before there really wasn't.
So ninjas are Frank Miller's fault.
Yes,
Pretty
ninjas.
much, yeah.
Well,
originally,
he jumped onto the zeitgeist there because if you remember in the '80s, ninjas went through their first big vogue in the States. We had lots of ninja movies and
Sho
they were the preferred
Kasugi
villain.
or whatever, and the
Chuck
Lee
Norris
Van
in the
Cleef.
Octagon.
Right.
Yeah, it's Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3, The Domination,
Yeah.
So you
American Ninja with Michael Dudikoff.
I mean, it started off with him making it just a crime comic, just bringing it down to
That's
street
it,
level.
yeah,
That's
and-
what set it apart from everything else.
And what really made it important was because it's like all the other, even though it seemed like every Marvel comic book hero was based out of New York at some time or another, he was specific to one neighborhood. It was Hell's Kitchen. That was his neighborhood, and that's what he cleaned up. I mean, I don't know if he never went to the Bronx or Queens or whatever, but for the most part,
It's funny
he
that
was sticking
gets
around Hell's
addressed
Kitchen.
later. And I was just reading an issue.
Yeah.
Of that.
I think Frank Miller's what ruined him on some levels is being allowed to start doing rated R comics. Because you read these early days where he wasn't allowed to have a character who spoke with fuck every other word and have half his characters be whores and naked. And this is really good stuff. It's still kind of similar. You still totally see all the tropes that he dealt with, but it's so good then.
It's funny because I've been reading back, man. The members have been sending me a lot of stuff just for my birthday, and just to send it to me, which I am greatly thankful for. Oh well, thanks, Chris. It's by the time they hear this, it'll have been weeks past, but I appreciate that.
Yeah. So if you're hearing this,
Don't send him
don't send him
anymore else.
anything
No,
for another year.
Really, I'm starting to feel guilty now. But I got two of the Daredevil, Frank Miller Daredevil collections that I wanted, and just been reading back through all this old stuff.
Two of them?
Two of them.
Son of a bitch.
Oh man, I got two of those. I got a Watchmen companion.
Maybe this would be a good time
a
to
Neil Adams collection.
bring up, if you're hearing this, the next birthday coming up before the LEOG. After this is mine.
That's what I thought. I thought yours was next.
March 15th.
Well, give a shout out to those that you can remember. That
Let's see.
while you're at it.
Yeah, I was going to thank you. You.
Sorry.
He was going to send out personal emails.
Which I have. I've sent out personal emails to people. B.A. Mikey was really good to me. A new guy, Nakamoto, I know his last name is Nakamura, but on the site he's Nakamoto. And Poke Smot.
It was the second thing Pokesmart has sent out, right?
No, well, he sent the first one, but somebody else just sent the other one, and that's
okay.
and that's the person whose name I'm
Pokesmart or
blanking on.
Pokesmart?
I'm blanking on right now.
Poke smart like smoke pot.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you guys did not catch that.
I did not clue into that at all.
It's funny because it's a drug reference.
And sorry, she's like the biggest pothead I know.
Well, that's probably why I didn't catch on.
Wasn't I doing that the other day?
Wow.
How could that be a person?
That's cool, man. Wait, what was it again?
All right.
But anyway, reading back through all these Frank Miller Daredevils, there's not one whore in the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened to him? after he left
Karen
Daredevil?
Page?
Yeah, he did make Karen Page into a
Don't.
porno actress.
But it took a while.
Okay.
Junkie, not a whore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, none of the things.
No,
that
she was a porno actress.
Yeah, she was a porn actress.
I mean,
Okay.
if you want to cut
she
ribbons.
That's a legitimate career.
She didn't become a porno actress until after he
That's
left
true.
and came back.
To be fair,
he wasn't drawing those.
I think we were all so sick of Karen Page at that point that it was
no.
fine. We were like, really? Oh, okay. As long as she's
but
not
I
there
wasn't
anymore.
sick enough of her for Kevin Smith to kill her off.
That's true. Which came much later, and we'll get to that.
I know. I don't want to jump ahead.
Yeah, but all right. So Miller brought it in. He
We're doing
changed
this
it
chronologically
We're
now?
we're just going through a brief history of the character here. Miller, changed it from having dumb villains like Stiltman.
No. Hey, he wrote some Stiltman issues.
Oh, I know, but that was
but
the major stuff. Was Stiltman, the Purple Man, dumbest Daredevil villain, if you ask me, because his entire power is completely useless against Daredevil. So for Daredevil to defeat him, he just has to show up.
Exactly. Daredevil can use his real superpower on the Purple Man, which is not really his radar senses. It's his power to administer severely horrible, punitive beatings to people, which he does on a regular basis.
I heard about Daredevil was like he's a superhero. His power is that he's a blind guy who can see.
Ta-da!
Didn't see that coming, did you?
But Miller made the main villain, a previous Spider-Man villain, Kingpin, which after that, he was always Daredevil's villain. I mean, he'd be in Spider-Man, but, you don't associate him with Spider-Man
But they had
anymore.
brought in Kingpin before. I mean, John Romita brought him over from Spider-Man.
But they made him the Daredevil villain.
Spidey breathed a big sigh of relief. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
Batman's your problem now, Matt.
Well, not only that, but they weren't like, he's fighting this big fat guy every 5 issues. I mean, it would be like he's fighting this very entrenched criminal organization.
Yes, it was a war.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Miller did not make Karen Page the heroin-addicted star of adult films.
Damn it!
That was someone after him
There's
who took
the
it
flaw
over.
in my own.
That was actually Bo.
It was Dennis O'Neil.
Take that, whore. Oh, really? Dennis did it? Oh, man.
Yep. Okay, so there was a long run of people who never really had the success Miller did. Miller would keep coming back from time to time and do runs. Some of them successful, some of them not so much. Like
No, all his runs were successful.
Well, like I'm reading Miller in Sienkiewicz's Love and War right now.
Okay, but that was a one-shot.
Well, that's what I'm saying is most of these things he did, he would come back and do one-shots, miniseries.
Yeah.
And most of them were good and successful, and that was one of the ones that not only wasn't successful, it's pretty to look at, but God help you if I can figure out what the fuck is going on.
Very true. It's like I just rediscovered that book, and I was like, oh, yeah, I never really did like this that much.
Yeah, I'm glad I bought it because it's pretty to look at, but like I said, I'm reading it. It's supposed to be Elektra back from the dead again, I'm surprised anyone's even surprised anymore, even where parents are like, oh, you coming to get some food?
Well, it's funny because
Bring your laundry.
Hanging out in some sort of purgatory lobby with Jean Grey. It's like, oh, there's my number. I'll catch you in a few.
there's so much angst over, like, well, Bullseye killed 2 of my girlfriends.
I was just saying, I think Bullseye...
He actually...
One of them came back. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Bullseye
Like,
is spawn camping for Daredevil's girlfriend.
But yeah, it doesn't matter, It's like Bullseye is just one of the myriad ways that you could die or get fucked over if you're one of Matt Murdock's girlfriends. Yeah. You're just screwed.
Yeah, being Matt Murdock's girlfriend is quite possibly the worst decision you could ever.
Yeah, Karen Page killed by Bullseye. Black Widow. Well, she didn't exactly have a good run of it, but she didn't die.
she got beat up.
She got beat up a lot. Heather Glenn became an alcoholic, committed suicide. Elektra killed 6 times? I don't even know. Gloria O'Brien, she was killed by a henchman of the Kingpin. Typhoid.
Was she really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I know she kind of didn't she kind of leave him for Foggy at one point?
Yes, she did.
She married him.
She married
She
him.
married Foggy.
Yeah.
Typhoid Mary.
Makes a lot of sense.
Typhoid Mary.
Typhoid Mary went
It went way
Well,
wacky.
she was that way. To be fair, she was that way
that's true.
before.
Well, that's who he's attracted to.
He started dating the nice personality and then all the bad
See,
personality.
it's funny because you guys say dating Matt Murdock is not the best decision, but it's like, look, if you see a blind guy who dresses up as a devil and fights crime at night, and you're attracted to that, you already have your issues.
See, but that's not
that's
fair.
the reason.
Because his current wife is blind, so she never saw him.
Matt Murdock is like the scoringest superhero ever. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Matt Murdock, Marvel man whore. Total man whore.
Dude, he's a bigger whore than Ollie Queen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
he really is. He's the Ollie Queen of Marvel Universe.
And they've made references to...
Because he's got that super sensitive touch.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's supposed to be it.
He
that he's
can't
the
help
greatest
himself
lover.
because
Yeah,
sex is
And that
awesome.
baton has many settings.
Yeah, he just screwed around on his current wife,
Yeah.
who is has been driven into psychotic catatonia
by Mr. Fear.
By Mr. Fear. Now he's screwing around on her with the private detective that works for his law
Dakota
firm.
North.
If he dated like a homely girl, would he know?
What? Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what? He might not.
Does his radar?
Because just reading the issues recently where he met his new wife, he asked Foggy, so is she hot? And he's like, yes, goddammit. Every girl you date looks like a European fashion model. Of course she's hot.
Yeah, once Foggy found out Daredevil, that Matt was Daredevil, the first thing he did was...
Almost said Ben Affleck.
I know, I almost did. He replaced
Turn off your fucking microphone.
He replaced his Daredevil outfit with a T-shirt that said "No fat chicks." Matt didn't think it was funny.
No, it's true. I mean, you could like send that guy down a well, and he'd come up with like hookers clinging to him. Hey, let the party begin.
And then Bullseye would kill one.
Bullseye would kill one of them. The Kingpin would kill the other.
He'd come up with the ring chick, but she'd be hot.
Yes, having an enemy like Bullseye would be good because once you got tired of a chick, you just kind of like make it public, like, "Hey, I'm dating her now."
My God, I can't understand why more.
Seinfeld can dump people.
I can't understand why all of the geek girls are going to the indie convention and not the main comic convention.
I'm still confused. Were you pointing out there was some good reason for that? I don't know. I mean, maybe I shouldn't get high before I do these. Anyway, I'm not. Seriously, kids, don't use drugs. Anyway, Miller came and went, and honestly, not a lot of attention was paid to Daredevil again for a while until Kevin Smith, filmmaker, came on and did a run of it.
Well, in between that, yeah, you got.
Oh, okay.
Probably the best
Apparently
part of that, because it went awry. It would go off the rails. I mean, he had the armored costume for a while.
Well,
everybody had to have an armored costume
that's true.
at one
Yeah.
point.
No, those are.
I read was the Miller stuff, the big long arc with the Kingpin fight, and then Kraven the Hunter came in for a year.
Did he really?
And that will kill nearly any franchise.
Wait, who was writing Kraven at that time? Or who was writing that book, Daredevil, at that time?
Was it Ann Nocenti?
Ann Nocenti.
No, the thing was there were still good artists on there. Lee Weeks.
Lee
John
Weeks
Romita Jr.
and John. Yeah, no, it was fantastic art.
But the writing was crazy.
Yeah,
terrible.
The problem was like Ann Nocenti. Like, I won't say she's a bad writer.
No,
but it was one of these things where. All right, I'm going to catch a lot and catch a lot of shit for this. I know.
It won't be the first
It
time.
won't be the first time.
She should have been writing ElfQuest, right?
Well, Daredevil is a guy's book.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
she came in with a female sensibility to it. And it's great that she came up with Typhoid Mary. That was awesome. But she would have issues where Karen Page is like, "Matt, you go out and with those red gloves and these red hands, you hit people with those red hands, and you come back and love me, and it just doesn't seem right." And I'm like, this is such a chick thing. Because when Frank Miller and any of the guys write it, Daredevil kicks ass and doesn't apologize.
Well,
for
you
it.
knew what his job was when you started
Exactly.
dating him. You don't come in afterwards and go, "I want you to change for me." Fuck you.
Yeah, well, she drove him so crazy that he started drinking in bars and talking to the devil. So really, I mean,
Ah.
that book got weird.
Maybe that's how they're going to get out of the whole Spider-Man
Well, it is
thing.
funny
It'll turn
that-
out it was just Daredevil in an outfit.
People.
Gotcha!
My ex.
See, Peter, this is what bitches do.
We'll make sure everybody knows that was Jason.
You know, if it ever comes down to a deal between the devil, between your Aunt May and Mary Jane, you know which way to go. I'm just letting you know. The bitches will always let you down.
Well, Kevin Smith did run a Guardian Devil, which had something about a kid who he's protecting who could be a messiah or an antichrist. I didn't read it. I just read a description of this
I read it
particular
and I
book.
still don't know much more than that.
Okay. Everything I read about it seemed to be like, yeah, okay, well, that's it. Anyway, but what you really want to know about is what happened next when Brian Michael Bendis, who's one of my personal favorite writers, took the book over for the second best thing he's ever written in his career.
Yeah, I've just been going back through reading those.
Yeah.
And I always thought, like, hey, man, this guy did the only guy to do a competent job next to Frank Miller, like, on the same level. And reading back through them, I'm like, wow, I hate to admit this, but they're better.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Totally.
granted, he could not have gotten this far.
Randy's squirming.
No. Here's the thing: Bendis' Daredevil is great, and in a way, it's an evolution the same
It
way
is,
that
because he couldn't have done it if Frank Miller hadn't done
he
what
turned
he
it
did
into
before.
a crime book the way
Yes.
that Miller turned it. But it's like a different crime book. But here's the thing: I think if you stack up the Miller action versus the Bendis action, Miller wins hands down. And that's the only problem.
I will agree. You know what? I agree with you. But I guess what it is I read Miller when I was in high school, and that was perfect
Right.
for that. And now that I'm much
Yeah.
older than high school age,
Yeah.
Bendis works for
It depends on what you're reading for, and yeah, I mean, I've always read more for the plot points than oh, cool, you know, they're going to duke it out and start beating the crap out of somebody. And I will say that, yeah, there isn't as much action, but the action that there is just the Alex Maleev stuff is just brutal.
They did it together
brutal.
for 4 years, and his artwork is one of my favorite artwork runs on a superhero comic as well. It's beautiful and perfectly expresses the gritty darkness of this run.
Yeah, if you want a good noir comic, Bendis' run on Daredevil is it. It's just grimy and gritty, and it's a great crime story.
Somebody want to do a sum up of the basic plot of what was going on there?
Basically, the main point of the Bendis run is that first of all, the Kingpin gets overthrown by
Sammy Silk.
By Sammy Silk. Kind of a low-level mobster who orchestrates this, kind of Julius Caesar-esque betrayal of Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, and gets him kicked out. That all kind of comes crashing around his ears. He ends up going to jail and ends up telling the FBI, hey, Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And they're like, wow.
Spoiler.
Spoiler for the 2005 comic book run.
Well,
for anyone who's never read Daredevil, wait, Matt Murdock is Daredevil?
Yeah,
that's what I was getting.
It only gets mentioned at the beginning of every comic. My name is Matt Murdock, attorney. I'm blind, and I'm also Daredevil.
Long story short, the one of the FBI agent basically rats him out to the press, and Foggy is walking to the newsstand and he picks up a newspaper and it's like, Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And he's like, holy fucking shit. Matt Murdock.
Seen this?
Yeah. And our first blind joke of the night.
Yeah, even Turk is like, what, seriously, Foggy, you didn't know? You're like the one guy who didn't know.
But yeah, Matt wakes up. There's all this press around his house. He's like, "Holy crap!"
It's the first book to deal with that, like a secret identity being a hero being outed.
Yeah.
And realistically, how do you deal with that? How do you put the genie back in the bottle
Right.
when it won't go back?
And respectfully, throughout the Bendis run and throughout the Brubaker run, the genie's never been put back in the model, and it looks as if it never will be.
Yeah.
Barring a deal with Mephisto.
Hey, Bendis, you did a great job with that. You mind if you get your buddy Millar to do it again and during another run? With Spider-Man this time. I think it'll be great. Why would anyone be upset about that?
What happened? But yeah.
One of the things I really liked about Bendis' run is I thought he really reinforced the supporting cast and and set that up really well and built a lot of moments between them because towards the end of Bendis' run, maybe this is into Brubaker's run. Maybe I'm cheating here.
It could be. I mean, they really. I mean, Brubaker took up Bendis pretty seamlessly and incorporated a lot of what he was doing.
It was like a relay.
Brubaker took over when Murdoch went to jail.
Well, that's the thing. Like Bendis really kind of fucked him over, going like, okay, I've outed his secret identity and I've thrown him in prison.
Yeah,
have fun.
Yeah, knock yourself out. What are you going to do?
Brubaker asked us that. Brubaker was like, Bendis was like, well, I don't know if you want to do this, and Brubaker's like, yeah, no, end it with him in jail. I know where I'm going.
Brubaker, I just made Bucky into Captain America. Said, I can handle that.
He's the go-to guy for here's a totally impossible corner to paint yourself out of. What are you going to do? And then he handles it with grace and aplomb.
Randy and Jason and I were actually talking. It's like both Jeff Johns and Ed Brubaker are really masters at taking something that sounds horrible on paper and turning into something great. Because, I mean, the idea of ooh, what if Daredevil went to jail? It's like, oh, God, don't do that. That's a horrible idea. And in action, which is the first Brubaker run, we're getting out of Bendis and into Ed Brubaker. It's awesome.
And guess who helps him escape?
My boy,
the Punisher, Frank
Castle. Well, the best scene of which there's actually a riot going on, and they're up in the control station. The guards are like, "What's the Punisher doing?" He's like, "Oh, he's in a cell reading a book." Because he's going to go in there and he's like, yeah, there are about 4 dead guys out on his porch, though.
At this point, they're so sick of losing guards. They just give him a key when he comes in. They're like, look, just let yourself out quietly.
Exactly.
What I was getting at is that while Matt was in jail, and it was actually something that Brubaker had done in reinforcing these really character moments, these interactions. While Matt was in jail, there was a pseudo Daredevil bouncing around the rooftops of Hell's Kitchen fighting crime, and Well, when Matt gets out of jail, he's like, all right, who the hell is this guy? And they go and they have this big fight on the rooftops, and they're head to head, really matching each other blow for blow.
And who else could it be?
And then all of a sudden, this faux Daredevil's fist starts glowing, and Matt stops, and he's like, Danny?
I'm such a big Iron Fist fan, so that moment for me was like,
yay!
I
love that. And then Danny's like, Matt? Turns out it's Iron Fist.
Wait, shouldn't Matt have been able to tell it was him from his heartbeat?
Yeah.
I had a moment like that, but it was like making out on the floor of an orgy when the lights went out one time.
And you're like, Danny?
Danny, Matt, Ben.
Well, the Brewbreaker run is actually when, after 20-odd years, I got back into Daredevil. And I've
Really?
been picking up the trades. I started on that because I was like, I saw it and I was like, it was sitting out on the counter there, the new trade, the first trade Brewbreaker running was out. And I liked Ed Brubaker on Gotham Central and a couple other things I'd read by him. And I was like asking the dude at the comic shop, "Is this good?" I like Ed Brubaker and Christian or Michael Art. That's good stuff.
I haven't read
like,
that. I'm gonna have to check that out now
like,
that Gotham.
Yeah. You should totally read this, and so I did. Yeah,
So you haven't read the
blew
Bendis
my
stuff?
fucking mind. I haven't read the Bendis stuff.
See, you have to go back and read that.
Yeah,
As-
I will say
love Brubaker.
the Bendis stuff. Honestly, I love the Bendis stuff. I have it all in hardcover.
Yeah, me too.
But I like the Brubaker stuff better. I
Really?
actually think he took it to another level. Now, on the other hand, you thought Daredevil was miserable in the Miller years. That poor guy, that poor bastard, never gets to win with Brubaker. Brubaker loves noir.
That's one of the things I don't
break.
like about Brubaker
Yeah.
is like he keeps hammering.
It's a little dark.
Matt,
He needs
Matt
to light
Murdock
up a little.
over and over to
Yeah.
where there's never like a good moment. Like even going back to the Bendis run, he has those moments when Daredevil just kicks ass.
Yeah.
Like the villains just come like they say, "Look,
Yeah.
we're fucking scared of you.
Yeah.
We're scared to death of you."
During the Bendis run, he beats the living holy shit out of the Kingpin, takes off his mask and looks at it. This is during like a big crime family night. Takes off his mask and says, "I'm the new Kingpin. You see this fat piece of shit carcass in front of you? All of you are done. Get out of New York now."
One of my top 10 favorite moments in comics ever is that right there.
And they all leave. They're like, "Hey, good enough for us."
And then the
Thanks
next
for the
issue
warning.
is Ben Urich talking about, like, he's like, yeah. And that was followed by about 6 months of the most unspeakably brutal war on crime that has ever been done in New York.
I think I really do love Brubaker's run, but I like Bendis's better because Bendis is about that. You know, Daredevil breaks all the time. He always does this time. He's like, "That's enough," and he freaks out and punches a bunch of people he shouldn't punch. But this was all about when that was it. This is the last straw. Fuck it, I'm beating up everybody, and I'm
like,
beating
he goes
people
after
practically
Bullseye,
to death.
It's fine. Like he's like,
Yeah.
"You know what? I've had enough of you.
Yeah.
I'm ending this tonight."
It's literally
and then the
what
next
we've
issue,
been.
He goes after Kingpin. It's like,
yes.
this is over.
Well, it's what we've been waiting to see him do since Miller originally wrote him, and waiting for him just to say, "No, fuck all these people."
I mean, he gets so fucking brutal. He gets like, Spider-Man, Power Man, Doctor Strange, and Reed Richards coming up to him en masse going, "Dude, you need to chill the fuck out."
But Brubaker
And the
has
only
some-
way they can finally resolve it is just to say, you had a nervous breakdown about 12 issues back and you just didn't know it.
Brubaker does some interesting stuff with the character in a totally different direction. He makes it about Matt Murdock, the lawyer, really, and about his relationship with what's her name, the blind chick.
Well, here's
Mila.
the
Mila.
Mila.
I do like that he had him hook up with Dakota North. It just seemed, it seemed natural. Like, here it's happening.
Well, because he's got to have something to feel guilty about.
And
or
once
he's
again,
not.
True, he's a good
once
Catholic
again,
boy.
Matt Murdock, man whore, total man whore.
Now, I will tell you that
Brubaker. Here's the thing with Brubaker. He hates Daredevil with a passion. I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure Brubaker is a Cenobite. I think he sits around. Your suffering will be legendary. He sits around thinking of horrible shit. He's like, okay, this issue. What do we get? Oh my God. Okay, this issue. Daredevil is going to have to toss Kingpin salad while his new girlfriend, while he watches his new girlfriend get fucked to death by a pack of rabid badgers.
Because of his height and senses, he can do it really well.
In this episode, he gets plantar fasciitis and can't walk.
All right, so what he's doing right now is he's introduced this character called Lady Bullseye. And right now, I got to be honest with you, I don't like where he's going with this.
I'm not liking it.
Or we were joking on the way here, Bo and I, by saying, to defeat her, all Matt needs to do is start dating her.
Exactly. It's like, you're kind of cute. Hey, that's not going to work, buddy.
The
fuck off.
The actual Bullseye shows up and he's like, so I gotta kill you now.
Am I like your dad? I don't get it.
Well, I kind of like where this was going. The whole thing of what's this all about? It's all because the Hand, after getting their asses kicked by him for so long, has decided, like, we want you to be our new leader.
It's very obvious that this is going to be working up to something cool. It's just like they spread this out over 6 issues, and I'm still kind of waiting for something to bite on. And the only thing that I've been able to bite on is Master Izo, which is like he's this new ninja. He's the new stick, and apparently he's like really, really old, and he's the guy who actually taught Stick, who was Daredevil's original sensei in the Miller years. And he's great because he's completely irreverent. He's like, whenever he kicks somebody's ass, it's not the typical ninja like, oh, now I will spout a Cohen from he's like, how you like them apples, motherfuckers?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically Joel Grey and Remo Williams.
Yeah, but he also doles out information like Benjamin Linus on Lost,
But my number one bitch about Brubaker, and I think he's a fantastic writer, probably the second best out there, is that he takes too long with his story arcs. Yeah. They're always 2 issues too long.
Yeah, exactly.
At least 2.
They definitely could have scaled like this whole like little arc into 2 issues, and at the last issue, Lady Bullseye and her faction of the Hand are going off to Spain, and they're like, well, it's time for Plan B. And I'm sure once they start getting into the details of Plan B, I'm going to be hooked again. But yeah, it's like, all right, wrap it up, guys.
My whole thing with Lady Bullseye, I'll be honest, I haven't read any of the issues.
I
haven't.
And you knew this episode was coming up.
Yeah.
What have you been doing for the last 2 weeks?
Crammed
Having sex
all
with a woman.
fucking night.
Really?
I read the entire Brubaker run.
I watched the director's cut of the movie 3 times in a row. So.
And you can still
Wow,
talk?
I can still see pupils in your head. That's
I'm
amazing.
a huge Mark Steven Johnson fan. Kill me!
It's a crime he wasn't allowed to direct
Michael
Preacher.
Clark Duncan just peed on my brain.
It's the worst thing. The biggest,
The seesaw.
most trite. I'm not even going to talk about that fucking movie. Shut up, Padawan.
We're going to have to at
The
some
fact
point.
that Jennifer Garner looks about as Greek as you and I.
The fact that she's in it. No, the worst thing about Lady Bullseye is it just smacks of that whole thing of, well, we've got a successful character. Let's make a female version of it. It's just like, God, that happens so often. Or it doesn't happen as frequently anymore, but...
Oh, come on. She's a lot better than most of Daredevil's other villains.
Is it?
That's what it smells like to me.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said. What did you say?
An editorial decision, not a writer idea.
Yeah. There is a stench of that.
Well, it's probably one of these writer retreats. They get in the room, and occasionally just bad ideas, and everybody gets excited about them, and it could well have been.
They get in a room, and Joe Quesada pees in everybody's face and says, all right, boys, go home.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? But you have to consider, you're right. You have to consider who their editor-in-chief is, who regularly comes in and says, I want you to do this, but I want you to dissolve the marriage of Spider-Man.
Isn't really the editor's job.
is scarily enough a drooling Daredevil fan.
Wait, Captain America, Sharon Carter's pregnant with Captain America's kid? No, don't do that.
Don't worry.
But I've already written 13 issues. You're like, yeah, no.
Superheroes don't have kids.
She is a female in Daredevil's world. He will date her at some point, and Kid Bullseye will kill her.
Yeah, Kid Bullseye's just going to kick his way out of her fucking womb. Like a little alien.
Next up for Daredevil, the Purple Lady.
Yeah. Who's a villain whose power only works on Daredevil, but no one else.
Stilt Girl.
Oh, God. Who's a lesbian, of
We
course.
keep bringing up Stiltman. I could have swore that they killed off Stiltman.
Yeah, they did.
There's been a couple.
No one can
They
kill
killed
the
off
Stilt
Leap-
Man.
they
Yeah.
called
No,
Leapfrog.
no one can kill Stiltman. No,
And he has the entire
made, like,
Stiltman run.
He made like a little cameo in the Bendis run where he came on and basically gave him his armor.
Right.
He was like,
Okay,
"Fuck it, dude."
okay, I remember that.
Punisher blew him up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. There's
But
an issue of
they-
Punisher. War
Punisher's
Journal
always blowing
where
up
they have
Stiltman.
the funeral for Stiltman,
Yeah.
and Punisher poisons all the villains in the Marvel universe. Yet they're all back.
Here's the reason Stiltman will always live, even as other characters die. because writers think it's funny to put Stiltman in the book.
True. Yeah.
And B, it doesn't matter who the fuck is inside the Stiltman costume.
Yeah.
So you kill Stiltman, okay. Some schmo finds the Stiltman costume, puts it on.
Great.
Well,
They're always going to think it's funny.
One of the funniest
He's like the
parts
lighter
of
side
the,
of Venom.
One of the funniest parts of the Miller run is where Turk, who's the occasional kicked around informant for Daredevil forever and ever, finds the outfit, like knocks out Stiltman, steals his outfit, and Daredevil shows up and lands on him and goes, "Listen, Turk, Stiltman's thinks I'm his biggest enemy. You know, he hates me with every fiber of his being." But he's so pissed at you that he told me how to disable the suit.
No, he does the only thing that you really should do to Stiltman, which he knocks him over. And the Klaus Janson art on it is so great because even though it doesn't use any words, you can hear him in your head go, whoa, 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 whoa.
That last panel of him just lying on a skylight down way below going, ouch.
Now Stiltman's just available for parades.
Hey kids, we took a short break to do the type of cool, smooth
I thought you
stuff.
said you weren't stoned, Cyrus.
I never said that. I said, from a legal point of view, I'm not stoned. Interpret that any way you like. We finished up the basic description of everything that's ever happened in the history of Daredevil, so
Not really, but close enough.
we're going to take your
We
questions
didn't get
here.
to the years that Jason read with Mephisto.
Well, we glanced over that.
Yes.
That was the
Oh.
Anacenti era.
The important Razor costume.
No, that was pre-Razor costume. That was like
It was.
when Daredevil and Ghost Rider were fighting Mephisto and Blackheart.
Yes.
You remember that?
Oh my god.
Was Daredevil in the
That was
Champions?
just in the Xbox game.
No. Is that Midnight Suns or something?
No, this was
Oh,
pre
yeah.
Midnight Suns. This was a few years before Midnight Suns.
Okay.
Well,
To
anyway,
bring it back.
before we go back to Daredevil, we're going to have to do a solid shout out. To who? To
Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider.
and Jagger?
Speaking of.
Yeah, because what they did was, okay, y'all know how...
Wait. Is it Jagger or is it Jagger 10?
It's Jagger now, and
It's just Jagger
it is
now.
Jagger, not Yager.
It's not
Officially
Jaeger?
asked
Yeah.
him. Mick Jagger.
Yeah, he's from Puerto Rico,
Puerto
not from
Rico.
Holland. So
Not from
No, I thought it was
Holland.
Costa
All right.
Rica.
Because
Costa Rica.
no, it's Puerto
is Puerto
Rico.
Rico?
Yeah, or is it Puerto Rico?
Puerto
Puerto
Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Rico.
Speaking of
which means rich port.
Yeah, and just saying, Jagger, if you got some like space in, like extra room, a bed I can sleep in, I'd love to come down there and sample some of those Puerto Rican girls.
I'm sure you
Just throw it
will.
out there.
They're not particularly anxious for you to come, but still.
Cuts right to the chick.
The closest you're going to get to that, Leon, is reading Yenny in the comic strips.
Oh, Mr. Leon, tell us more about this Batman.
Ooh,
But
I just got chills. Just
Jagger did a lot of art for us, as well as all the other shows on Spill that is just astonishing. I mean, you can see here on our front page of the League Lounge, all the art he's done for us. And I know everybody liked it so much, and Ghost Rider, my internet mom, contacted me
Our internet
and
mom.
talked about, not our, you're not my brother,
I'm-
screw you.
You're not my real brother. Like somebody's sleeping with both eyes open tonight instead of the one eye you normally spare me.
Yeah, I already have a big padlock on the inside of my door.
I've got a big crowbar.
Aw. But anyway, there's
hard
this is fake. This is fake resentment, I swear.
Freud would have a field day with you.
Let's get to the point. Ghost Rider did something completely goddamn awesome.
She
and we
fucking
need to recognize
volunteered to make T-shirts for the LEOG crew.
No. She volunteered to make beautiful T-shirts.
Yes.
for the Leon crew.
Beautiful
And they are
T-shirts.
awesome.
She and Jagger got together and agreed that this was okay.
If anybody's just listening and you're not checking out the LEOG Lounge regularly or any of our FAQ pages or personal pages, Jagger is a artist who is a Spill member, and he's done some amazing tribute art to the League. He's done one treatment of a cover from the League of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He's done a tribute to Green Lantern, and then for just Cyrus and Leon, he did a Batman Spider-Man tribute, which has us as or caricatures of us as those characters, and they're absolutely awesome.
They're gorgeous.
Yes,
I'm looking at them right now. They're beautiful.
Well,
Very
I'm going to be posting a picture with this LEOG that you'll probably already be aware of before I'm even saying this, of all of us with these T-shirts with maybe a few of our faces carefully hidden a bit. But you'll be able to see the shirts and how great they are. And I just wanted to say, for one, thank you so
you very
much,
much.
Yeah.
you guys.
Thank you.
That's the nicest
Thank you,
gift
Jagger.
we've ever
Thank you,
got.
Ghost.
Man, we have like the best fans in the world.
If anybody else in this passel of folks could sing, let's start doing "Thank You Very Much" from the Scrooge soundtrack, because that's how cool this is.
Who sang that?
Some British musical actors. I don't know.
Don't
The Albert
know,
Finney
Gato.
version of the Christmas Carol.
Okay, right on.
I want to give a little virtual fist bump to Darkblade as well. Today I got my 42nd Street Forever Volume 2 collection of Grindhouse trailers.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so I'm this weekend I'm gonna revel in all the sleaze and gore and sex and
Which is different
cheerleaders
from other
and
weekends
slashers.
in your life, Al.
It's not different from any of his other weekends, but this weekend he gets to do it for free.
Oh my God! Okay, this has nothing to do with anything a Spielberger bought us. But while looking through Amazon and all, or just searching for things, I think as usual, Grant will show me something that'll bounce me over to something else. Bo, you're gonna love this.
Awesome.
I found a replica of the William Shakespeare bust where the head lifts. And
I
you
was
push
the one
button.
who told Grant about that, and that has been on my wish list forever. Yeah, it is if you've seen the original Batman 60s TV show, whenever they activate the
bat poles.
I didn't want to say activate the bat poles, but
My bat pole's activated.
anytime the secret when they say run to the bat cave, they open up. There's a bust of Shakespeare. It's got a little switch in it which opens the secret door to get into the
So
bat
your
cave.
bat pole leads directly to your bat
my
cave?
bat pole
Oh
is
my
my
God.
And it's like $400 or something.
And it's $350
$300, thank you.
worth
It's
every
awesome. It's
penny.
awesome.
You can plug any appliance into it, and
Oh, can you? I didn't know that.
No, yeah, you can plug any appliance you want into it, and it will. You can turn it on by means.
Quick,
of-
Robin, to the toaster.
Yes, quick, Robin, activate the bat microwave.
Well, it just means that finally I can open that bat cave I had installed last year.
You thought that would have been something.
That
you
was
would have thought
one
about.
of your worst engineering oversights.
And you can finally feed all those Puerto Rican women that are locked in there.
I don't think you'll need to at this point.
See what that smell is.
Apparently, when you say bat cave, you mean dilapidated trailer.
You say potato, I say potato.
We're going to move.
the switch on Shakespeare's head or it gets the holes
Activate the bat white slavery.
We're going to move right into questions before Jason becomes that Buffalo Bob. Kiwi Kid asks, what actor do you think should take the role of Daredevil in, or if there would be a reboot at all? And wow, the room is...
Mr. Connor, Mr. Connor.
Mr.
All right, we're going to go with Leon first.
Matthew Fox.
You totally stole my idea.
I had no idea you were going to say that, but
Matthew Fox.
I mean,
is
Matthew
good.
Fox has proven that he can not only do action, but looks good wearing such a mask as
Plus,
that.
I
and
love
Speed
you,
Racer.
Matthew, Jack on Lost. I love you so much.
He's got a lovely,
please.
strong jawline for it. I think it would look good. In the
Yeah, no,
costume.
I think he'd be perfect. And man, you saw the last episode of Lost? That guy's a good ass actor.
Yeah, he is.
And that guy
did
is
a great
ripped, and he was in Racer
Racer.
X and
Yeah,
Speed
Racer
Racer.
X, that's what I'm saying.
That motherfucker.
Yeah, we could see him with like Luke Cage and Dakota North, and with Danny and somebody else, and they'd be the new Party of Five.
With Nev Campbell as Elektra.
Who's next?
Speaking of good actors, and generally I am against people being too pretty and playing superheroes because I don't particularly see pretty. Generally, I see masculine, which is why I
Bo
do
usually
think,
walks the streets and kills pretty people.
It's true. I think Matthew Fox is a good choice, but I would say Guy Pearce.
That's what I was
going to
Well, he's a little bitty guy. That's the only reason I didn't think of him.
He's really thin.
Yeah, but size.
He's thin and tiny.
If you go pick up one of the Bendis runs or one of the Brubaker runs, and you tell me that he Daredevil is not like this bulky muscular
No, he's
guy.
not.
He's lithe.
He was
And
never
He's
meant to
gonna be
be.
in a superhero
Guy Pearce.
movie.
Guy
The
Pearce
guy's
can
gonna lift
definitely
weights.
be ripped. There's no question about that.
I'm tired of these Aussies coming and taking all our superhero
In
roles.
that case,
shit.
I do have an American then B pick, if you want to go a little younger with the character, I think James Marsden would be incredible.
Okay, James Marsden can do anything.
Yeah. And if you had asked me a couple of years ago, and I just seen his portrayal of Cyclops, so it would have been no fucking way. But in the intervening years, he's done so many roles, and he's shown such a great breadth of character that I really think he could do a great job.
He's one of those guys
Murdoch.
where you look at it and go like, he's too pretty, and then you see him act and go like, oh, okay.
But they have actually said in the Daredevil series that he looks like a young Robert Redford, and that's obviously not an ugly guy. So
I think we should give Ben Affleck another chance.
Shut up.
What?
You want to get kicked out of the league?
All right, that leads us to a quantum question, which says, was the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie really that bad?
Yes.
Next question. Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't think it was.
It was.
You
I'm gonna
take
come over there and cut your
all the
fucking throat.
superhero
Shut up.
movies adapted from known superhero characters on a table, and you watch all those movies, and fucking that's going to be in your top 10.
Oh no, I don't agree
Well,
with
okay,
that.
your
Okay.
top 15.
Howard the fucking Duck was a better Marvel adaptation.
I will say this. Right after I saw the Ang Lee Hulk movie, the first thing I said was, well, that Daredevil movie wasn't so bad after all.
there were little glimpses of what it could have been and what it should have been, but by and large, it didn't hit the points they didn't do a good job making Matt Murdock, and if you don't have Matt Murdock, you don't have Daredevil. And I'm not even going to touch on Elektra. Jesus.
God, you cannot
I
get
would
the
touch
girl
on
next
Elektra, but
door.
I wouldn't cast her.
You cannot get the girl next door to play a Greek assassin.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It just doesn't work.
She did good as Alias, but she's not Elektra Nachios.
Plus, why are you plunging right into the Elektra storyline? There's just absolutely no reason to do that. You haven't even established the main character.
Well,
Stilt-Man.
they do that with almost all the movies. They take the
I
most
agree.
popular run. and
Obviously,
they
you need to have the
together.
Kingpin in there. If were I to make a Daredevil movie, I would
would team up with
Get
Moon
back.
Knight.
what has made the comic book incredible, whether it's Miller or Bendis or Brubaker, is this very gritty crime element. And we've mentioned this before in a league, but I said, man, set it in the 70s and do like this gritty, hardcore crime look, make everything look dirty.
French Connection.
The French Connection is a great bit. Miller actually has stated that like he would go up to like the rooftops in New York and spend time sketching them so he could get like the right atmosphere.
But mostly staring at prostitutes in Times Square.
and staring at prostitutes. But yeah, that pre-Rudy Giuliani New York where things are still dirty and crime-ridden and horrible. Yeah, let me see something like that.
Yeah, who
would you put in as Kingpin?
Who would I put in as Kingpin? Cyrus.
That's true. I often feel like Kingpin. That's true.
It's funny
Get some
because
butter
at the
bean.
time I thought, well, God, it seemed like James Gandolfini would be the obvious choice for the Kingpin.
Yeah, but
then him and Ben Affleck made that shitty Christmas movie together.
Daredevil.
And you see that Ben Affleck actually towers over James Gandolfini.
I hate James Gandolfini now. I'm so sick of him.
Why?
He can't breathe. Someone open up his nasal cavities. Everything he just. Daredevil. I'm gonna kill you for doing that to my wife.
That sounds like
George
Marlon
Wendt hasn't
Brando.
been doing a lot since Cheers. So.
Well, what are you trying to say over there? Way
He's
away
saying
from a
John
microphone.
Goodman
Greg?
over there.
No, John Goodman is too big to even be Kingpin.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
The same problem as Michael Clark Duncan. You can't have a cuddly Kingpin. And Michael Clark Duncan's a big, imposing guy, but you saw him and you're like, dude, he's too cuddly to be the Kingpin.
Yeah.
Give me your hands, Daredevil.
Hey, boss. All right. One last question about movies with Daredevil. Aaron says, who do you think should direct the Daredevil reboot sequel if they decide to do one?
I would love to see. Not Ben.
Actually,
that's
no.
actually a good
well,
one.
You
Ben Affleck
laugh,
would do
but that is exactly what I was going to say. I
Gone,
mean,
Baby, Gone?
Gone, Baby, Gone, and that gritty crime feel.
What
That's
he would
exactly
say,
what I was talking
he
about.
would say, wait, don't do what I did. Do this.
That's true. Yeah. He would know. He would know all the pitfalls.
I have experience.
Exactly, and he is a comic book fan as well.
I would
mean,
actually say, and I said this for the Moon Knight movie, many LEOGs ago, but
Take a drink, everybody.
Darren Aronofsky, especially after seeing The Wrestler.
Oh yeah, no, I could totally.
I've always kind of more of a David Fincher guy myself.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Aronofsky likes to go way off the reservation, and I think that Daredevil needs to be a little closer to the bone on that one. Fincher, I mean, watch Seven. Imagine that if that style Fincher was about Daredevil.
Is it weird to think of Spike Lee? Is that bizarre?
That is a little weird. In fact, I feel uncomfortable.
No, that's I mean, Spike Lee or Scorsese, somebody who is inherently New York, you know, who can really bring Hell's Kitchen to the screen.
I Scorsese, and I thought you would laugh.
I came close to saying Scorsese too, and the only thing is it's like, well, would he, because he is of that generation that still thinks that comic books are just for kids, but if he could get over that hump.
Well, and I don't want to see a Daredevil movie where I have to hear "Gimme Shelter" 17 fucking times.
I would love to see Antoine Fuqua direct it, and with you guys are gonna hate this one, but no, my Daredevil choice would be
get out of here, Jason. Go.
Get out of here. My Daredevil pick would be Paul Dano. Actually,
how about Paul Giamatti?
Yeah. Paul Dano? Paul Dano from the guy that was in
we know who he is.
Little Miss Sunshine.
He's the new Ralph Malph.
Which one was he in Little Miss Sunshine?
He was he's the kid.
He's in There Will Be Blood.
Why not just get
There Will Be
Screech
Blood?
while
He
you're
was
in
the
it?
priest in There Will Be Blood. I think the guy can really act. And
wait, he was the kid?
He's got a scrawny
Daredevil?
frame.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't see that at all. I don't care if he's young or not. He's got this weird,
he's 24.
marshmallowy face, and he's just he's like the least heroic looking guy ever.
Yeah, Michael Cera
He's got the
would be
height.
more
He's
imposing than that guy.
he's 24. He's got to put on weight. But
actually,
I think I would
Michael
love to
Cera
see it.
in like 5-6 years, perfect for Foggy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He just comes in and he's like just looking. But Ben, where are you always going?
No.
I've got briefs to file, but oh shit, I'm gonna go work at the ice cream stand.
Michael Cera as Daredevil and Jonah Hill as Foggy. That'd be good.
Will Arnett is Daredevil.
Wait, Michael Cera as Daredevil? Like, wait, can you please
Jonah
stop?
Hill's like, okay,
Please.
listen,
Matt, you gonna fight the Kingpin?
Listen, Matt, I know you can't see her, but my God, that vagina is dripping for you. Okay, can you hear it? Can you hear it dripping? She wants your penis in or around her.
Oh yeah.
Say, Foggy, you have got to get rid of the C word. And then Foggy's mom goes saying, I'll leave when I'm damned good and ready.
I want to say Patton Oswalt as Bullseye only to hear Bo do an impression of that.
Okay, so who would be Bullseye?
Didn't I just say?
Paula Poundstone.
Lady.
That is gross.
Is she still alive?
Yes.
Where isn't, but she is.
Oh my God, she's dying. Wait, I was just watching this Paula Poundstone special.
All right.
Wait, don't tell me a lot.
What?
I don't even know what
It's
you're
on
talking
an
about.
NPR show.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I thought that was when she was being tried for child molestation.
That was wait, don't convict me. Actually,
Nice.
Wait, don't touch me. Paula, not a lesbian. Paula, not a lesbian town.
The secret origin of Bullseye. Why he's so pissed off.
It's Patrick Warburton is Bullseye. You gotta admit, you're good, but I'm magic.
Nice. Awesome.
All right.
Good job.
Take a shot, everyone.
Because we can't go any better than that, we're going to change to a different question.
All right.
Miley Zorel, which still has miles of goodwill left from her presence to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gets an question in here.
Yeah,
It
we're
says,
still whores.
yes, we are. Oh, come on. When did we ever make
Hey,
any
Miley
mistake about
Zorel
that?
has come through for me even without the present.
Yes,
Can I plug my? I finally put up my wish list, so somebody could send me something, please.
yeah, what do you have to say about comics?
I got all. Yeah,
It's all different styles of cock rings.
Yeah, but my.
By the way, Spillions, you are only allowed to buy Greg comic book stuff. No music. No books on
But my
music.
stuff is all reasonably priced.
No
like
guitar
$10
picks.
and under.
Are you
There's
saying
also-
that the $350 that someone would have to spend to get me a Green Lantern is unreasonable?
So worth it.
You prick!
No, but here's the difference.
Not
Greg
when
will
you
learn the song you ask him to play, and he'll play it secretly in the
but
background
Bo,
of the
did
show.
you see the new thing
There you
is
go. I
a collection of all the different color rings?
Yeah, so then Bo and Nicolas Cage can be the only people that own them.
Ooh, Nicolas Cage is Daredevil, huh?
See, Jason, you can stay. Now you need to leave, Leon. Miley Zorel asks, who would you see as a better DC rival for Daredevil? Nightwing, whose fighting style and look are incredibly similar, or Green Lantern, the other man without fear?
Now, that's a really good question because I didn't think about it until I saw that, but that's right. Nightwing does have that same kind of acrobatic fighting style, and they're both big coos hounds.
And they both have their Billy
hounds.
And they have tragic shit happen to the woman they date.
Green Arrow's a little bit more appropriate in the pulling down the tail department, but I gotta say, neither one of those really hits me. I know they say, Matt's the guy without fear, and Hal Jordan is the man without fear of the DC universe, but really, the only one who comes close is Batman, because the thing about Daredevil is he scares the living goddamn fuck out of criminals.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's like they might not be happy when Spider-Man shows up, and they may go, oh shit, it's the Avengers, and oh my god, here comes the Thing. But when Daredevil comes in, it's like, oh my god, he's going to use his superpower of administering punitive beatings to me. And it won't be the, he punched me once and I fell down. It will be like, oh my god, the Owl's in intensive care because all of his limbs are broken and he doesn't have any teeth.
Well, Green Lantern's a man without fear because you can't do shit to him.
Exactly.
He's got
a super weapon.
Yeah, he's almost as powerful, if not more powerful, than Superman. Daredevil's a man without fear because he has deep-rooted emotional problems.
Because I cannot have a relationship without a woman but for more than a month before she dies.
I think it was actually Randy that when I was in here on Wednesday picking up my comics who said Daredevil wins in a Brubaker's
Gallery Comics in Round Rock.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, we are. We are in Rogues Gallery.
In a Brubaker issue if he doesn't blow his head off at the end of the issue.
Daredevil versus Batman. Batman throws down his little smoke bombs. Daredevil's like, what was that? I don't know what you were doing.
Smell something.
What was that?
What is this, a fucking quinceañera?
It smells like a fart. That's annoying. I'm kicking your ass.
Farktoid asks, why is the Kingpin such a jerk? I mean, seriously, mob boss and all that, but he seems to go out of his way to be a douchebag. What's up with that?
He got picked on a lot when he was a kid. Have you seen the size of the guy?
Yeah, but that's all muscle.
No, that's true. He's not like all the other nice humanitarian mob bosses out there who are willing to let you slide on a debt.
Well, I mean, actually, he's nicer than most of them because most of the time he's like, look, this doesn't really concern me. He's like, well, don't you want to punish him or Daredevil or something? It's like, not really. I've got better things to do.
He's a businessman, yeah. It's like, I have a certain amount of resources. I'm not going to give them to this. Big deal, who cares?
Well, and it's funny, like, when he got taken down, he got stabbed and taken away, and the Owl tried to take over, and everything went to shit, not only just in the criminal organization, but just in the whole Hell's Kitchen structure, to where once he came back, it was like, oh, thank God. Even the cops are like, oh, thank God you came back so you can clear all this up.
Yeah.
But there is a mini-series, and I think Klaus Janson was either the artist or the inker on it, and I was trying to find it and read it before, but it's called Kingpin. You could read this. It's all about the origin of the Kingpin, and it would give you an insight to his inner self.
But I would say that anybody who thinks that the Kingpin is a douche has not seen any of the works of Martin Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, it's just like, man, look at Michael Corleone. I mean, that's what you do to be. I mean, he's not like the mob boss of Passaic, New Jersey. He's the mob boss of New York, and that means he's got to be like a bigger douche than Tony Soprano.
Yeah, the way it works, there's always someone who wants your job, and your job is to make sure that no one has the balls to actually apply for it openly.
And Leon's completely right. I mean, when they've had the Kingpin up in front of cops before, and he's like, you need me. And you might not know it, but it's people like me that have made this little city brick by blood-soaked brick. Yeah. And you might not like me, but every time I go away, everything goes to hell in a fucking handbasket. When I come back, you heave a big sigh of relief because I keep things going.
True.
Part of the establishment.
Yeah. Mussolini made the trains run on time.
Yes, he did. At least that's what I'm told.
That's what they say.
Masiak asked a
Corey
question
puts
that
the LEOGs
I was
up on
gonna.
top.
I'm
He
sorry.
did. He actually personally made the train run.
Yeah.
He
He was up in the
such a
morning.
bad dictator. He was like busy running.
He
the
was
fucking
like
train.
Hulk Mussolini.
He had a little.
Mussolini smash train.
He had like this big control room where he was controlling all the trains.
Dude, my
That
grandmother
was the
lived
only
in
time
Italy during that
anybody got
time,
anywhere on
and
time.
one time she had a library book that was late. Guess who showed up? I mean, he literally only wanted the 50
Dude,
cents.
do you know what?
Sticking his lip out. Like,
Do you know what one of his
Library
big
book.
punishments was? He would make people drink like a gallon of castor oil.
Oh.
yeah.
Well, yeah, no, that
Was
sounds
it Caligula?
that sounds vile because ew, castor oil, but no, castor oil is a laxative.
Right.
Yeah,
so-
I mean,
yeah.
so basically, he would force people to drink this, and they would literally shit themselves to death.
Damn.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and you thought Kingpin was
yeah.
a douchebag.
Yeah,
I mean,
Mexico.
yeah.
Rough
It's a-
weekend.
Mussolini's revenge.
indeed.
But you know, this question reminds me of the whole thing. So there's clearly no capital punishment in the comic book world. Because no one, there's like, there would be so, I mean, I'm not
No, there
normally.
is, and his name is Frank Castle.
Well, okay. But legally speaking, there's not.
Well, I mean, Daredevil. I mean, not
Are
Daredevil.
you kidding? We can't even keep the heroes from coming back from the dead.
Bullseye still has to
Yeah.
kill 7 more people before he can get the electric chair.
Oh, is there an exact number? Is
Yes,
it
because
42?
230 is not enough.
All right, Masiak asked a question, and that's kind of off subject, and I wouldn't have even answered that if Grant hadn't sent it out with a connection to a video that I'm just having a hard time really believing is real, but it's from a reliable source. Masiak asked, what's the most amazing thing you saw a blind person doing? Which made you go,
Ben Underwood.
which made you go, wow, this guy could very well be Daredevil, or wow, Daredevil powers aren't so fictional after all. I mean, first off, I just want to address Daredevil, Masiak. What the hell is that?
Who is the omnipowered advice columnist of the Marvel Continuum? Dear Devil, my Aunt May is very sick, and I'm a little fed up with my wife MJ. What should I do?
Daredevil can see, but he gets caught in the headlights.
Actually, I think Daredevil is upstate New York parks. He's just like a franchise.
No, what would happen in that letters column and be someone would be, excuse me, I have an answer for that. If there's, I can cut in on this one. But he put this video. What's the name of the guy in this?
Ben Underwood.
Okay.
I've blogged about Ben Underwood before. The kid was amazing. He just died like a couple
oh,
months.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was going to do a post because
Got hit by a
he
car.
died at the end of last year.
Wait, was he sick or something?
Well, the reason he lost his eyes because it was
Oh,
because
was
of
cancer,
cancer. Yeah, and the cancer came back through his nasal cavity.
That was my second
And
guess.
yeah,
What
The kid
kind
was
of cancer did he have? Jesus.
it was in his eye
Who
sockets
gets
before.
eye cancer?
ocular cancer. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's really sad because he was such an inspiration. But yeah, he was a little kid. I think it was L.A. where he's from.
He uses echolocation.
Yeah,
Actually, he clicks his tongue in order
Yeah,
to be able to
like-
rebound into his ears where the surroundings are, and he can skateboard and play video games.
Yeah, well, now, see, the video games thing was where I
I
went,
think that's all
okay,
audio.
this is
He's
this is
able to
bullshit.
Yeah,
hear
well,
the noises of
The
how
Who
people
wrote
play.
a musical about it. Come on.
I think this might have been a little after that.
But the thing was, it's like, you read Daredevil, you're like, man, what if? But you go like, yeah, but it's all bullshit. And then you watch this kid actually do it.
No,
Like,
we were Grant sent us like a YouTube video that, and I mean, like this is not like just a YouTube video. It's footage from like 2020 or
Yeah.
Nightline, some news show, and it's like literally the reporter is walking down the street with him, and he's like, cutting around like fallen trash cans.
yeah.
And you're just like, oh, dude, and playing foosball with the guy and beating him. It's just like, holy crap.
And you can just hear his tongue clicking in the background.
yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a dolphin or a bat.
I'm watching him going, this guy, how could this possibly be real?
Cyrus, ladies and gentlemen, who can take no joy in anything miraculous whatsoever.
Nope.
It couldn't possibly be true. Men on the moon? That's some kind of liberal moon calf.
I'll be the
talking.
guy in heaven sitting there going, this is such bullshit.
He's gonna be sitting next to Penn Teller, and Penn Teller's gonna be looking at him going, dude, lighten up.
I love it. Yeah, you will be in heaven. You're like, a fog machine? Really? Come on.
Come on, how stupid do you think I am?
Ooh, everybody's got glitter body paint on. Woo! It's like being in Twilight.
Hey there, Mr. Jeebus.
Streaks of gold, spray paint.
Well, I want to answer a few questions that have nothing to do with Daredevil. But before we go there, if anybody else has something specifically they want to say Daredevil oriented, they didn't feel we
didn't
covered.
Get any other Daredevil questions?
No, we did. We skipped over them because I wanted to do some stuff that's non-Daredevil too.
Murdoch
Fuck
rocks.
those guys.
What was the question about?
Like I said, Murdoch rocks.
Murdoch does rock. In fact, Daredevil is one of my favorite superheroes.
Yeah, as far
Top
as I'm
five.
concerned, it's the best Marvel comic going right now.
I would say Ultimate Spider-Man, but Daredevil's right up there.
Okay, let's go the best mainline universe
The
comic ever.
606 or
And
606.
Ultimate Spider-Man's completely derailing lately.
Ah, fuck, man. Love Ultimate Spider. I love every issue of Ultimate Spider-Man except the last one I read because it got derailed by Jeff Loeb and his goddamn ultimatum.
But even with that, they're still managing to deal with what's going on in Peter Parker's head, which is more important. Now,
And they're about to get a new artist.
yeah, well, they're about to change everything. The whole all that shit they talked about, the Ultimate Universe, like coming, like all these characters are coming to an end. Well, apparently now they're all coming to an end, and they're all being rebooted. So basically, it's like fuck everything that's ever happened in the entire Ultimate Universe. We're doing the new Ultimate Universe.
Basically, Joe Quesada has decided that the Marvel continuum takes place between 1965 and 1975, and nothing else should ever happen again.
Okay, look, with comics going up $1 to $4.
Oh hell! A New Avengers 50 was $5 this week.
Okay, I'm seeing like maybe a possible end to these podcasts because once they start going up and they start rebooting all these comics I've been reading, like if they reboot Ultimate Spider-Man, I'm not jumping back on.
Yeah, it's almost like we're doing a I Love Tobacco podcast at this point. It's like, wow, it's just not going to happen anymore, is it?
No, everyone must buy comics all the time with all
We
your
just need
money.
to get sponsored by a comic book store. Wink, wink. That lets us read them for
Because
free
I'm not
before they
worried
come
about-
out.
If there is a font, if there's a
Comics have been dying since the 70s, according to everybody, so I'm not
Yeah.
particularly worried.
if there's a
you're right.
font
There is
of
that.
disposable income, it is the proprietor of your local comic book.
Thank God we live in America. Home with disposable income. Okay, Spider-Bat asks a question that I have almost nothing to say about, but I know you animation guys here are really hardcore. And he asks, why are you so negative towards the 80s cartoons?
I'll make it one simple sentence because the 80s cartoons were all 30-minute toy commercials.
All of them?
All of them.
For the most part.
Oh yeah,
With the exception of
absolutely.
Fat Albert. Yeah.
Those who grew up in the 80s watching them, me,
I
loved those cartoons.
All right, like what? What
He-Man,
did you love?
Transformers,
Toys.
Thundercats,
Yeah, but you
G.I.
go back,
Joe.
you go back
Toys.
and watch them now, and they're goddamn atrocities.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, to
It's
be
like-
maybe
fair,
so,
every
but-
cartoon everybody grew up with was an atrocity.
I loved
Except Warner Brothers.
the Warner Brothers cartoons when I was a kid, but I also really liked Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones and all this stuff. And then I went back and watched them when, I was older than 12 and realized that, wow, these are really horrible. Especially, the Flintstones was like, oh, so you took the Honeymooners and made a cartoon out of it.
You just crossed a big line with me.
Oh.
Because I absolutely love the Flintstones. And
Okay.
they still hold up for me.
But you will admit that they're just the Honeymooners.
Yeah.
You will.
Well, I will admit it in as much as, that's all Hanna-Barbera did at that time.
Sure.
The Jetsons is Blondie,
Okay.
just in the future. Scooby-Doo is Dobie Gillis, just with a talking dog.
Which means
It really is.
nothing
And-
to anyone but Ghost Rider who's listening.
And don't,
That's true. But
don't get me wrong.
that was the Hanna-Barbera formula.
I worship at the altar of Dallas Butler. I think he's one of the best voice artists ever. I certainly respect Hanna-Barbera for what they did, but I mean, their stuff just wasn't that good. The animation wasn't that good because they did not have the financial resources for it to be
I'll
that
give
good.
you that on everything but the Flintstones. The Flintstones, they really put their work into.
Well, they did, but it was their primetime offering. So I'll give you that.
You remove the Flintstones from continuity, you got no Family Guy, you got no Simpsons.
Yeah, as much as
okay.
it seems
Yeah.
now that it's grown apart from it, but the Honeymooners really set the template. Period for the
that type of
family
working
sort
class
of exactly.
guy.
Even today
That's-
is all copy.
Even
That's a
before
good
the
argument.
Honeymoons, it was Life of Riley.
But
Yeah.
we're straying into the. I mean, I certainly I watched my fair share of He-Man in the '80s just because it was coming on before I was going to school. So I was like, oh, new cartoon, I'll check it out. And I mean, I have some fondness of it that is purely based out of nostalgia, but
and
you
feeling a little gay back in those
and
days.
feel-
Not
feel
sure
okay.
which way your
because
affections lean.
There's nothing more homoerotic than a blue man wearing a harness and a skull face.
Is that? I'm sorry. Is that not true?
I just love how like everybody in Eternia took steroids. Like,
All of them. It's true. It was like, what happened to your shoulders? And why is, oh my
On that
God.
alien planet, that's all their natural physiques.
Oh, and man, somebody posted one of these
And
old
then you
He-Man
only-
cartoons.
You only have to make one mold for the toys.
It's an awesome cartoon with He-Man and She-Ra, and this is one really hot cartoon character who's all over He-Man flirting with him, and he's so like, I don't know what to do, and She-Ra helped me out. She's like, oh no, Adam, it's all up to you.
She
You gotta
was so
figure it out
totally
yourself.
his fag hat.
Whatever. That girl was post-op. He knew better.
How did that show end? Did Battle Cat maul him one day? Because I always wanted that to happen, even as a kid. I was like, come on, man.
I devoured those cartoons, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, and all that. And they're one of those things to where if you grew up in that era, don't turn back. Do not
I'm
look
the same
back.
way.
It's
I
like,
mean,
you can say that about most of the 80s,
you know.
though.
Orpheus?
Yeah, Orpheus.
Orpheus,
Yeah,
where he goes to Hades, and he says, like, I'll let you come back with your wife as long as you don't turn around and
Yeah.
check.
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
of course he
It's
does.
like, no, I used to love Chuck E. Cheese when I was a kid.
yeah.
I used to love Chuck E. Cheese when I was a kid, and I went into one recently and nearly had a goddamn seizure before I got through the front door. And I was just like,
from a
"It's
horror
horrible."
movie point of view, Chuck E. Cheese is awesome. Because you go in there when you see the animatronics, or one of their eyes doesn't work, the other one is just totally slumped over, and only that one is running just a little too fast.
No, what I was gonna say is the cartoons I watched in the '80s were like Battle of the Planets and Voltron and stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure when it started, but I watched those in the '80s.
I like Battle of the Planets a lot.
The Battle of the Planets and Voltron were actually Japanese cartoons from the 70s that Hanna-Barbera bought and basically took out all the violence and then redubbed, and they also put in for Battle of the Planets, they put in 7 Sark 7, which is
Battle of the
like a
Planets-
little R2-D2 robot, you know.
But
Your
Battle of the Pla- you mean
cartoons-
G-Force?
Yeah. Well,
G-Force,
yeah.
yeah.
G-Force.
Your cartoons are Asian. Your argument
Gotcha
is
Man, for
invalid.
everybody there who's listening going like, it's called Gotcha Man. It's Gotcha Man. Yes, we know. It's Gotcha Man.
Who asked this question?
No, I like the battle between
Spider-Bat.
Mark and what's the other guys? The
Jason.
leader, Mark and Jason. I love the way those guys used to battle.
Here's my answer to the question, which is why do you bag on the 80s? Well, I can, as I just have, I've bagged on the cartoons of the 60s. I can also bag on the cartoons of the 70s and the cartoons of the 80s. The fact is that animation, like TV animation, especially like anything superhero related, but TV animation in general, didn't get very sophisticated until the 90s, where you had like the new golden age with Tiny Toons and Batman the Animated Series. And all the
those two
stuff
ushered in a golden
that,
age.
that
Even
Amblin
then,
Entertainment.
Bo can bag on cartoons of any. Bo can bag on anything really
It's
because it's
true.
in his DNA.
Because they're all horrible.
But of the 80s specifically, one of the few cartoons that actually holds up is, believe it or not, Dungeons and Dragons.
I do.
yeah.
Hey, that was
I like that cartoon.
Mark Evanier was writing that, who did Gru the Wanderer. He's
J. Michael Straczynski.
J. Michael Straczynski
Really?
did stuff for. Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Seriously.
No, they
Yeah.
it was from a role player's perspective, absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
From a cartoon viewer's perspective,
I've
it was a
watched them
great little
recently,
series.
and they're still
Yeah, no,
good.
I saw some recently too. I'm surprised how well they were still good.
Just goes to
and
show
I might note that they were not based on a toy line.
No,
Yeah.
they were not.
Although they were based on a role-playing game.
Yeah. Well, there was
But-
still marketability involved.
But I've plugged this site before, and I will continue to do so. If you get a chance, check out POV Online. It's Mark Evanier's site, and he talks about all kinds of stuff that he's interested in. One of the things that he's got like a whole little bit dedicated to the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, and it's well worth.
I
a read.
loved that show, and
yeah.
it just goes to show you JMS starting on that, going from that in the '80s to now having written a film nominated for multiple Academy Awards.
Right.
You're like, wow, shit changes. So who knows? Maybe
with the stop off at Gwen Stacy having sex with Norman Osborn.
Okay, fair enough. So the brief stop off on
They
that.
can't all be gems.
Hey, to his credit, it was one of those, and we shall never speak of it again.
Yes. He did not hold on to it and fight for it.
Yeah. He's not
Leave
like
that poor girl alone.
He's not like Joe Quesada is with his Mephisto proclamation. He's like, no, I swear, guys, seriously, just stay with us. You'll get into it eventually. No. We just abandoned it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they even go in and edit Wikipedia every day and just delete that.
I don't want to belabor this point, but we do have two kids here who really grew up at that time.
See, that's my point. Spider-Matt, he probably grew up in the 80s, like myself, and I'm assuming at least partly Padawan, Jason F.
Padawan's like 12, though, right?
When I was a kid, I did not like the Spider-Man and the X-Men cartoons.
What? Fuck you!
You leave.
Fuck you!
I just never got into it.
I will fight you!
We will fight you!
I will fight you!
Jason and Jason. Ooh.
Oh, it's a Jason off.
Jason off.
Clash of the... Oh, God.
Padawan, who weighs about 90 pounds.
There's going to be some Padawan tossing.
Have you ever had a broken bottle of Lone Star shoved in your eye, and then had a rabid prequel Star Wars fan, as you mocked me for last time, skullfuck that empty socket?
Oh, good God.
Oh, my God.
Padawan, have you ever been in a slap fight that has led your face to be really red? Because that's what you're looking at, son.
Have you ever seen a Gladiator movie?
Or as Padawan himself asked me recently, so you've been with the lady. What's it like?
So anyway,
I really like the Spider-Man or the X-Men. You son of a bitch.
So we grew up.
Come on, man. He's going to call his mom to come pick him up and keep that going.
Yeah, I'm trying to save you here. I'm trying to change the subject back, but I can't. Tough shit, Padawan.
Wait, hold on. Wait, okay.
So anyway, Batman the Animated Series.
But we do want to get another over 200 comics. So basically, what we're saying is, cartoons in the 80s suck. Have fun.
Come on.
All right, we're going to move on to another question. And here's one I know that you didn't have any interest in, Leon, but I actually do want to address this. Scott PJ said, did you guys ever happen to play any superhero-based trading card games? Did superheroes only appear as collectible cards, or did they ever have an official game? Well, yes, there were many.
As far as I know...
As many franchises jump on that bandwagon, I'm wondering if any of you had any history playing them.
As far as I know, and I maybe I shouldn't speak for everybody, but we're all straight.
Oh, shush. There's
What the hell?
So how do you explain that pair of
misjudgment you have made.
rollerblades I found in your garage the other
I was
day,
going to
Leon?
say, and leg warmers. Pink leg warmers. I'd never played a superhero-based trading game, but I did play Magic the Gathering.
I bet I know someone here who has played a superhero-based trading.
Shut your dirty mouth!
Ooh, wait, no, I played
And
this.
you can buy them
I
here
played,
at Rogues Gallery Comics and Games in Round Rock, Texas.
Wait, no,
I-35.
Yes, you can.
I played this really cool card game in the late 90s. It was called Texas. It was called Texas Hold'em, and it was cool because you could win money with it, which is the only reason you should ever play with cards.
One time I played poker accidentally with a tarot deck. I got a full house and 4 people died.
Oh, wow.
So
Are we stealing from Stephen
I know, we're
Wright
stealing
now?
from Stephen Wright now.
I was going to say, I saw that joke coming down the street in a cab.
Hey, our fans are young. What do you want?
No, I do remember that game because I still have the vestigial tail.
Wait, once again, don't ever make fun of me for playing fantasy football. Okay? Don't
What is
ever
the thing with the fantasy football?
Greg.
You guys are jumping
We're
on
making
me.
poker jokes. We can still make fun
Greg,
of
you big sports nerd, get out of here.
Greg, the fact that you try to separate fantasy football from fantasy role-playing games makes it that much funnier.
Yeah.
Like, just accept that they're on the same level.
Yeah.
My quarterback
Real
is better
people.
than your Ranger. Take that.
Peyton Manning is a real quarterback.
Yes, but you are not paying him money to play for
You
you.
shall not pass. Leighton the fourth.
Wow, Cyrus for the win with a football reference. Yeah, fuck you, Greg the Basis.
Shut me the fuck up.
Yeah, no, I card games. I got nothing. Anyone?
I played Magic the Gathering. Also, Cyrus, big up.
Yeah, fist bump.
White, yes.
Does anyone know anything
white
about
deck, yes,
superhero card games?
I didn't.
Randy?
Or
Oh,
Pogs.
God help me, you're going to make me relive this.
And we're gonna make a lot of fun out of you too.
You got a good anecdote?
Now, the thing is, I've been selling comics and games for a long time, so I know all this. They've done a ton of Marvel and DC games. There's one that just went away. They always go away because there's really not that much of a market for them. They usually get some good art for them, I'll say that. I played the Wildstorm card game.
Oh my God! There is a Wildstorm card game.
Not anymore.
My Ginny Quantum
And I'm just going to go ahead and put my penis away now.
We'll take out your Midnighter and Apollo, fag.
I'm really hoping they're going to release
I got
a
a
new
special
universe
Spartan
card game.
Well, my Marvel 2099 set collectors.
And I just
Marvel
want to say,
1606.
I took a bullet there for you guys. You don't have to be embarrassed by playing Magic anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Actually, I think it's healthy to be embarrassed about it. It shows growth.
It's okay. I tried on a pair of rollerblades once, Leon.
And he's still wearing them.
I'm wearing them now. It's true.
Magic. It's not just for shy asexual youths anymore, but it should be.
The Great Mook asks, I just watched Dark Man again the other day, and I was wondering what you guys thought about that movie and comic book, since I'm seeing how I've never heard you guys mention it. I don't know, have we ever mentioned it?
No. It's funny because it's one of those movies that I've thought that too. Like, I wonder why these guys never mentioned Dark Man.
Best Liam Neeson accent ever.
Okay, next question.
I am an American. Can't you tell?
I want the pink elephant.
I want a pink elephant.
I have a specific set of skills and a horribly scarred face.
And you have to.
I will find you and I will kill you.
I will find you and kill you, bitches.
I don't really remember that much about Dark Man, to be honest.
Weren't there like two sequels?
Yeah.
Something like that. And there was an offshoot comic series. There were a couple of limited series, and then there was a short-lived ongoing. But yeah, it was. As I understand it, it was Sam Raimi's answer to
The Shadow.
The Shadow.
Yeah, right.
That's right. He couldn't get the rights to The Shadow. Thank you, Padawan, for contributing something that wasn't totally fucking gay.
Jesus. I was the one talking about the Wildstorm card game. That smells me.
Even when he compliments.
No, but Darkman came out in like
Court.
Darkman came out in that time where there hadn't been any really good comic book movies.
It came out right after Tim Burton's Batman.
Other than Batman and Superman, there really wasn't anything out there, and nobody was willing to take the risk on any of the lower tier characters.
And there was that Sam Raimi gruesomeness there.
Yeah.
There was some
I like that movie. I remember it.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's like Army of Darkness. It's more of a pulp movie than a superhero movie,
Yeah.
really. I mean, it's not straight superhero.
I've gone back and forth on it, where I'll watch it one time and I'll kind of like it, and I'll watch another time and go like, God, this movie's fucking stupid. Then I'll watch another time and go like, oh, it's kind of funny in its own way.
It's a good prototype movie, because like I said, if you were a comic book fan and you were like, oh, I'd really like to see a good comic book movie, there weren't many for a long time, and it was a good little fix. It was like The Crow,
Well, I remember it came out months, or at least no more than a year after Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah.
So it was totally capitalizing on that whole stream. What was going
and
on?
it had a great bad guy. The bad guy Durant.
Yeah, he was the retarded
guy from LA Law.
From LA Law. But
Yeah.
what was fascinating, look back at it, it's like, wow, it's Liam Neeson and Frances McDormand. It's like these are Oscar people in this really like B- movie.
Liam Neeson has regularly through his career stepped into less than Oscar-winning
He was the
roles.
director in the Deadpool, for Christ's
Wait a second.
sake.
You remember that band movie he did with the young Julia Roberts and and Justine Bateman when she was
Mystic Pizza?
No, it's not Mystic Pizza, which was actually
I can't remember what it was called,
but it was a band movie.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what
That movie where he was like, oh yeah, Star Wars 1. That's right.
Man, if you could see the way the Jasons are glaring at each other right
He's coming
now.
back hard with lefts and rights.
It's a gay off.
It's a gay off.
You know what? I love it. Like I think the first time I saw Liam Neeson was in Excalibur, which had
That's
all
true.
of these.
That's true.
It had all these great actors
Gabriel
that had like
Byrne,
they had 5
Patrick
lines.
Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson was in Crow.
Was he really?
He was the Cyclops, wasn't he?
No. He was one of the thieves.
Farmers, Farmers. Wait, we have to get farmers? No, he's saying farmers. Oh, okay.
How do you know he's the king? Oh, he's not all covered in shit.
Am I the only person here who's wasted his time with the Darkman sequels with Arnold Vosloo?
Oh, wow.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
So, wait, I'm
what was
curious.
the movie we watched recently, Randy, that had Vosloo in it?
The Mummy?
I was going to say.
No, it was
Agent Cody Banks.
No, it was an old one. It was Gore.
Hard Target? No.
Wait.
Yeah, remember he was the bully. Randy,
Like 2 seconds
yeah,
he was in it.
Randy and I watched Gore recently with Oliver Reed.
G.O.R.?
and Arnold G.O.R.
Oh,
Arnold
from
Vosloo.
the
books.
From the books, yeah.
The horrible S&M plague.
As we were told. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Tangent.
Okay.
Vasaloo? Isn't that what, like, Desi Arnaz used to shout out when he was playing bongos? Vasaloo!
Yeah, he was the sidekick of Quick Draw McGraw.
But, no, Padawan.
Vasaloo, you're right.
Padawan, none of us watched these.
Done by Jack Messick. No,
Well, hold on. Padawan, none of us watch these, and I am curious. So, are they as bad as they look?
Yeah.
Well,
enough said, true believers.
I know, like, is it the second or third one that's the return of Durant?
No, it's the second one. He's just like, oh, he's back. He's just some surgery.
So he
whatever.
gets killed in the first one, but he's back the very second movie.
Maybe it was a comic book movie.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say.
He's like
Ian.
Siler.
All right. We'll move on to another question. Christian Alvarez with my favorite question this week.
Ooh,
Says, well, going back to the beginning of LEOG Volume 1, back when you could go down to the corner drugstore and drink a cherry phosphate and read some serialized Fitzgerald for 2-cent pieces a volume, Cyrus said there was a powerful 3 writers of comic books that included Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, and Frank Miller, but that with Miller losing his credibility with Dark Knight Strikes Back, All-Star Batman and Robin, The Spirit, yada, yada, yada.
And Alan
the list
Moore
goes
losing his
on.
goddamn mind.
Who is the person who could replace him? Who's the guy, one of the best people in the history of comics that you would put up there with the Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, like those guys who are gonna be the legends 20 years from now?
Who are the top three modern?
Steve Gerber.
Well, but before we
Steve
get into
Rushmore.
that, I mean, you have to understand that you know, although those are all 3 incredible writers, no question about it, one of the reasons that they do form that troika is they came around at the right time. I mean, Frank Miller was the first guy to kind of bring in that gritty element that we've been talking about all throughout this Daredevil episode. Alan Moore was the first guy to really bring in literary horror references, and Neil Gaiman was the first guy to really like consciously bring in an idea of mythology. So, you know, they already blazed those trails, and for somebody to like quote unquote replace them, you've got to find somebody who's going to like knock down an existing door and bring in something that hasn't been brought in before. And the question is, what is that?
Well,
and as soon as I figure it out, I will replace them.
It seems like the most likely candidate to me is Warren Ellis at this point.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think maybe he's done yet the definitive Ellis thing, only because not all of them have been as read as much as they should have. I mean, not to go on and on about Transmetropolitan again, but goddamn, if more people were reading that is one of those definitive, like, career-making books.
Yeah.
But I think Ellis probably still has in front of him that series that everyone will still say was his best thing.
Ellis kind of has the Bendis problem in that everything that you read it and you're like, wow, everyone's talking like they're written by Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
And I love Warren Ellis. Don't get me wrong. And if you're not following his Twitter, you should be, because he's absolutely demented.
I didn't even follow my own Twitter.
His or fake
post
Grant
anything.
Morrison, either way.
Stop saying Twitter. Anyway,
Ellis also has a problem that he gets bored.
yeah.
Yes.
Whereas, more all those originals guys, they did that too. They'd do quick things, they'd be done with them. But Ellis has these great ideas that sort of peter out because he doesn't finish them. I would propose, actually, it's not really a replacing these guys because you can't replace them, but it's more of a new triad, and that new triad might in fact be Bendis, Brubaker, and Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
I would go with that. I mean, my thing, and I am not adverse to this in any way, but Brubaker and Johns both use that technique that Alan Moore and Gaiman really pioneered, which is going into the Silver Age and bringing out kind of the more obscure characters and reforming them into, like, I mean, one question that Grant sent us on the email was discussing Daredevil's villains and how some of them kind of suck. But Brubaker recently brought back Mr. Fear and turned him into this amazing character and this great arc with him.
True.
And, Johns does the same thing with Justice Society and with Green Lantern, where he's taking like these kind of established Silver Age myths and really fleshing them out. So, I mean, I definitely think that those guys are some of the best writers in comics today. But I wouldn't say that they're breaking new ground per se.
But
I just think they're
there
really
is
doing a good
someone-
job with the ground that's there.
There is someone we're skipping over, and I think it's partially because he's only had one major book. I mean, he's had other books he's really good at, but he's only one that really sticks in people's heads, and it did change everything, and that's Garth Ennis for Preacher.
Thank you. I was just going to say that. 'cause
It did change the whole industry.
You guys have made some good picks, but I would mix things up and throw Garth Ennis in there. He would be one of mine. I mean, I'd probably bump him for Jeff Johns because as good as Jeff Johns is, he's good at coloring between the lines.
Yeah.
And, you need a guy who'll do that. I won't take that away from him. But you also need some guys who are going to be willing to bust outside of, the barriers and bring new things in.
I know a lot of people out there that are listening to this are going to be surprised, but if he would just stop being so addled and stop being so ultimately referential in his weirdness, I think Grant Morrison could pave a way, because he is bringing in some stuff like Carlos Castaneda and mysticism that goes beyond like the literariness or the horror literary thing that Alan Moore was doing, and even beyond the mythology thing that Neil Gaiman is doing. But I just don't think, even though I like a lot of the stuff that he's doing, I don't know if he's got the chops to like fully realize it.
If I was running one of the big two companies and I had my beginning of the year meeting where everybody's going to brainstorm, I'd bring Grant Morrison in.
Absolutely.
I'd set him up in a hotel room for 1 week and let him just fill
Give
sketchbook
him
with
like
all his ideas.
the same kind of trunk that Hunter S. Thompson had in Fear and Loathing.
Once
Chris
he was
has got to
done-
do his great impression that he did earlier, because this was killing me. Yeah.
I can read off the Grant Morrison Twitter.
The
for
fake
you.
Grant Morrison Twitter.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
I just want to hear you just make up something Grant Morrison-ish and the best brogue ever.
It was, and then we brought in the friggin' mushrooms and we ate them all. and then I wrote some comic books, and they came true.
And then my head exploded, and I remembered, Kirby did something like that in '65 at New Gods. He was great.
Freaking great, lad.
So we got two more
And then I
questions.
woke up in a highway underpass.
And then I woke up covered in my own vomit and hooker blood.
And that's the thing. After I'd given him a week to write all this stuff down in notebooks, I'd say, okay, give me what you wrote down on Monday
Back to
through
Arkham
Wednesday.
Asylum.
And everything from Thursday to Sunday I'd throw away. But those first 3 notebooks, I would use all those ideas.
Yeah, no, that's
And then
good.
I would give them to Jeff Johns and Mark Wade. And
To
Edward
Yes.
fix it.
on Warren Ellis's Twitter, he actually said, if I were Grant Morrison, I would have already made you all masturbate over a photocopy of my image with a sigil scrawled across it.
Chris runs Staple, which
Staple
That's
with an exclamation point on the end.
Yes.
Staple.
Staple.
I think of it as the verb form.
It's
of
like
the word.
Sega.
that's
that's gonna be
www.staple-austin.org.
www.staple-austin.org. Randy actually did some interviews, and we have some podcasts posted on our website there. You can hear interviews with Chris Staros of Top Shelf Comics.
Oh, right on.
Jeffrey Brown, who's one of the guests. We've got a few more to be posted. It'll be Stan Sakai and a couple other folks. And then listen to those, and then come out to the show on Saturday, March 7th, 2009. That's this year. It's only very short time from now. I guess by the time this is aired, it'll be tomorrow.
It'll be the next
So get
day.
your ass up. Come down to the Monarch Event Center and the Lincoln Village Shopping Center. If you need a map to that, you can go to www.staple-austin.org. And we hope to see you there.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. It's only $5.
We will.
Only $5
We
to
hope
get
to
in.
see you there
There's
also.
Gumbo, there's Texas
Gumbo,
Chili.
The league will be there.
And the league will be there.
Most, if not all, of the league.
Represent.
And
You can meet the league.
you can meet the league, and
They'll sign your chest.
I'm sure I'll know some of the comic artists there. I will introduce you to some of them.
When
There
we
you
say
go.
chest, we mean the wooden thing that you keep your comics in.
Your booty. the show itself, it's since we only charge $5 at the door, it's
that's
sort of
true.
a shoestring thing. That's why we have great sponsors like Awesome Books and Comics and Rogues Gallery Games and Comics in Round Rock, Texas. And they help us out by bringing the guests. Randy is bringing in Stan Sakai, who's the legendary Stan Sakai. He's been doing Usagi Yojimbo for 25 years. I'm a big fan. I'm very excited to meet him. And Randy just told me that he's going to participate in the live art show.
Really?
Stan Sakai is not Randy.
Huh.
No, if I get drunk enough, you never know.
Oh, I thought you were saying Randy was going to do it.
Randy's actually going to be a live nude model.
Let me clarify. Let me make a different sentence.
Man, I'm going to go to see that because Randy is a good-looking man.
Every Thursday at Rose Gallery.
Randy might do a Marcel Duchamp piece where he rips out a urinal and puts it in the middle of the floor. So be sure to be there for that.
The big party. I mean, we've done these live art shows for about 3 years, and as the after party for Sable, it's always a huge amount of fun.
I do the best Gigi Allen impression. You have to admit.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken,
Great.
there's usually
Our
lots of
talents
ecstasy
plugged.
at these parties.
It's true. Cyrus is pretty much saying the same thing as fecal enema.
Yeah, but are the women at these parties? What's the use of ecstasy without women around?
That's true. If you're someone who doesn't
Stick around, Greg.
We'll show you.
We'll reenact some scenes from
and then we'll make a
Brubaker's Prison
fucking
Run.
comic book about it, and it'll come true.
After 72 straight hours of sodomy, you see God.
Is that true, Greg?
It'd be like, the wolf that came after me in Mystic River. I'll be messed up like that guy.
All right. Last two
I don't
questions.
even know what you're saying.
X-Teen asks, after such terrible movies as Catwoman, Elektra, and even the old Supergirl movie, do you think they'll ever manage to make a movie about a female superhero as a lead character that won't suck? Also, which female hero do you think that could pull this off, apart from Wonder Woman, and who should play that character? Well, first off, thanks for stomping on our feet about Wonder Woman, because that was the obvious answer.
I'm going to go with Black Widow.
Yeah, Black Widow seems like a perfectly... but you know what? If they do that, they'll just make a Daredevil movie right after it. So, no.
Well, they'll make that Daredevil movie with Matthew Fox.
No, they won't. You know they won't. They're going to fuck it up if they do it again.
Well, maybe. No.
We were just masturbating to the idea of, the good Daredevil movie. That's
if they're establishing all the Avengers before they do the movie, maybe Wasp?
I don't see her as being a strong character to hold her own.
She never had her own book.
Yeah, she never even had her own book, yeah. She might now that she's a man, or the Wasp,
The chances are really poor because, unfortunately, while the comic book industry has made leaps and bounds into making good, strong female characters, most of them are stemming off from some other title. So, I would love to see an Oracle movie, but can you do an Oracle movie without doing Batman?
They did a TV series.
That was awful.
Which was awful.
Yes.
But they did it.
But the question was make a movie about a female superhero that wasn't bad.
I think that as far as anything out there in the DC verse, I think Black Canary offers something.
Yeah, maybe it's a spin-off of a Green Arrow film, though.
No, because Black Canary was around in comics continuity. Black Canary was around before Green Arrow.
How about Red Sonja? She-Hulk?
Yeah, She-Hulk could be a nice merge.
She-Hulk would be a
Hulk and Daredevil.
Yeah.
Now, I think we're more likely to get a good TV show. If they'd made, the DC Manhunter series with Kate Spencer, that would be a great TV show.
Oh, was that something that they were talking about?
No, I'm just saying, if they were... I think a lot of... Unfortunately, as Bo was saying, the problem is that there's just not a lot of great female characters in comics that they've really done a good job with. They've managed to make some good sort of B-level characters, and they can carry a TV show.
There's supporting cast.
But carrying a big budget movie is Wonder Woman's it. That's the great hope.
You might be able to make a cool. You might be able to make a cool indie movie about Patsy Walker, Hellcat.
That's true.
They've done some neat stuff with her recently with this recent miniseries. I really enjoyed. I could see doing that like a. I don't know, something with Michael Cera playing her boyfriend. Let's go. It's an indie film. That's what we say. autonomic reaction.
Maybe
But,
a Spider-Woman?
And the Huntress, I'm thinking.
Well, Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew is cool as Jessica Drew. I didn't never like her really as Spider-Woman. I know that's weird, but
I think that is a great character, but unfortunately, she's got that very, very hard to understand origin
Carol
as far
Danvers.
as being originally from Earth 2, and then all the Crisis stuff. And I mean, yeah, if they made her a standalone character, maybe, but like Randy was saying, I mean, as good as the Huntress is, she's still kind of a B-level character.
And also, she was part of that TV show too, Birds of Prey.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and hey, I totally think if you are going to do anything, I think Birds of Prey as a TV series would be a great point, and just fucking relaunch it and do some good work.
It was a good idea to do as a TV show.
Great
They've
idea.
just written horribly and had bad actresses doing it. No, I mean, you could do a Miss Marvel movie, I think. She's a good character.
Yeah, but once again, do you introduce Captain Marvel? I mean, you've got to bring in the whole she was binary first, so that's the X-Men.
An Elektra movie could be good.
If you could pluck anybody for a solo movie, maybe you look at the ranks of the X-Men. I don't think Rogue could carry a movie, but there's got to be somebody in the X-Men who could.
Not to pimp Joss Whedon, but he's been throwing around saying, "Look, I could write a Kitty Pryde movie and it would kick ass."
Honestly, I know it sounds absolutely absurd, but a Jubilee movie could be cool.
Really?
Yeah, you're right. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Go that far, I'm going to go ahead and say Zantana.
Santana would be cool. I'm sure Paul Dini's wife would be pleased to hear that.
Carlos Santana?
He was a superhero.
Who are you talking about?
Zatanna?
Santana?
Zatanna.
Zatanna.
No, the whole fucking
the talking backwards thing.
That's retarded.
It would get on everybody's nerves.
Well, yeah, and I mean, yeah,
Fuck you
she's
guys,
one of those
then.
characters.
You just like the fishnets. I understand that.
She is a great character, and I would absolutely love to see Paul Dini do an animated thing for her for the DC verse, because Paul Dini is, the ultimate Zatanna fan, and I think that can be really fun. But as far as a feature movie, it's not going to happen, and that's not because it shouldn't happen.
Ilyana Rasputin.
No.
Fine.
No.
Now you guys just throwing names out there.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, that was awful. That's one of the low points of the Chris Claremont X-Men years. The whole magic shit, man. That's what fucked
You
up
obviously
Claremont's
didn't
run.
read Inferno.
No, I read Inferno. In fact, I'm pretty sure Inferno is what made me stop reading the X-Men.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that.
No, sadly enough, I mean the strongest characters, I mean, that can be introduced without having to first introduce, whatever their progenitor was, is the females that are in teams. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to be content with them for a while until maybe, if this is reaching any female ears who write, we get some cool fucking female characters.
Just an
Lady
X
Deadpool.
Lady Deadpool. Just an ex-chicks movie would be
Miss
cool.
Moon Knight.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean,
Miss Werewolf by Night.
We need somebody to throw something in the paradigm like Buffy, throw something into the live action paradigm of making a cool, efficient, great female character.
What bugs me is that I know there's an answer here. There's
I
one
think
thing
a
someone
Lady
could say.
Deathstrike would be kind of neat.
That's not the one thing I was looking
no,
for. But there's an answer, and I think it
Bad
might be an
timing,
indie
I mean.
comic somewhere that we're just looking in our heads in the wrong
There
place.
is a indie film for Street Angel, which is actually, it is very superhero-y. It's sort of, I mean, it's more comedy, but there are some cool, I think Buffy, Anita Blake, I hate to even put her in
I was
this,
going to
but
say, I don't read Anita Blake, but that seems like
I do. I like Anita Blake.
The strong, you can see Anita Blake movie being made and making lots of money, though, right?
I like Anita
absolutely.
Blake, but I love all that vampire.
Basically, I think unfortunately, a lot of the strong female characters, the superheroes, are not coming up in the spandex set. They're coming up elsewhere with the trappings.
Like Hack Slash.
Yeah, which you could, which in fact they keep saying, in 2005 they were printing on Hack Slash. Now, upcoming movie. Really?
Someday they will make a Maggie from the Hernandez Brothers Loca series. They'll do a Rocket Girl movie, and it'll be awesome.
No, we already did the Indie Comics one. That's the last we're ever talking about that again.
No more indie comics, despite the fact that we're going to be at an indie comic convention.
I'm kidding.
How do we miss Witchblade?
Because that was on
did a TV
purpose.
show?
Yes.
I'm going to go into the bathroom and slit my wrist.
Honestly, the
I'll be right
TV
back.
show much to my surprise, I'd hate the comic. I tried reading the comic.
Yeah,
I fucking hated that comic book. But the TV show wasn't that bad.
Really?
The first half of it, like the first season, is pretty fucking good.
Really?
The
I
second
find that so
season,
hard to believe.
oh, believe me, so did I. But the second season loses its goddamn mind. It's just like, what the fuck happened here?
I got it. Power Girl, because she doesn't have a fucking real origin anyway. You can do anything you want with the fucking movie,
including
As long as
porn.
there's a topless scene.
Yeah. And,
All
and,
right.
you know, it's Power Girl.
Chris, did you? Chris went off and walked around the store to go
okay,
cheat.
I'm not really, I don't read enough superhero comics to really be qualified to answer this. So I'm asking you guys, what about Supergirl?
No, they've
they
done
did
one
that.
that was
Is it
awful.
done?
Yeah.
They should
Yeah,
have
but
Helen Slater.
Can they
played
get
It's got the
another chance?
moratorium. It's
I
been
mean,
over 20 years. Come on,
I mean,
man.
they wouldn't have, it's got super in the name. People know what it is.
Yeah.
They could at least
Plus,
sell it. And then, you get some big strapping blonde girl.
Most people have never even seen the original Supergirl.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never seen it either.
No,
Every
I-
time I tried to
I
watch it, I
didn't know.
was told how awful it
I
was.
watch like pieces of it here and there on TNT, like in between when you're flipping around on commercial breaks while you're actually watching Darkman. Like, oh, okay, well, let's flip and see what's on the other channels real quick.
Honestly, I walked down and I looked this whole wall, and that was one of the only things that you guys hadn't already mentioned, that it was a female who had her own title.
Wait, jackpot.
Shush.
And that's when we killed Jason. All right. David Lynch directs the Gwen Stacy movie.
I would
Back
just
to
see that.
life.
I feel dirty.
Yeah. Cyrus, what was that next question?
Okay, the next and final question of LEOG, Volume 2, Issue 4 is from Kimura Triangle? Kimura Triangle? I looked her up in the dictionary. She's not in there. I know you guys have already gone over movies which managed to make you cry, but what about comics? What were some of your most gut-wrenching, tear-jerking moments in all your years of graphic novel reading, and no jokes about Brand New Day?
I have two. But Bo had his hand raised first. So.
When I read V for Vendetta, the concentration camp bit where she receives the letter from Valerie, and she reads it all the way through, and she's just talking about human dignity and that being that 1 inch that you don't give up. I'm choking up now. Wept like a fucking baby when I read that. Awesome. Incredible.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
So does the question specify like sadness, or can it be like tears of joy or like anger kind of thing?
Just tears.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got a couple. Spoiler alert. In Walking Dead.
What?
I was freaking out.
Oh, see, you fucked up now, man. Leon is going to
I
kill
had no
you in the
idea that
parking
was
lot.
coming.
I've been fighting myself
gave a
from
spoiler
telling
alert
him that
with no
for a
space.
month now because he didn't know. I was like, will you read the comic book so I can please talk to you about it? Okay.
I'm not reading it now.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
But yes, I did too, Jason. And you're going to cry even more when this is over.
Okay. End of Preacher. I was just like,
Oh,
so-
come on.
No.
Have you not
It's like-
finished running?
Yeah, of course I
got-
finished.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
No, End of Preacher. I was like, badass. It's
Really?
Like,
That's what made you cry?
No,
it's just like-
Because of
that whole
awesomeness.
conference, the whole like Alamo issue, which is it's
Yeah.
the ultimate, like it's the very end of the Preacher series. That whole thing, I was like through the whole thing, just like trying not to cry.
You know
no,
that?
man. But for me, like, yeah, like you got all that good stuff. It's just like the Saint and Killers just kind of pushed it a little more for me. I just like.
Well,
I
that was
love
one of
that
those things
so
you cry
much.
almost because it was just so awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say, for me, it's on my mind just recently. I read it again and I cried again reading it. Was that Kingdom Come issue that they wrote just recently, that
Oh,
sort of
that was
follow-up
good.
issue.
Yeah.
Man, that is so freaking touching. Where it's Earth 2 Superman who experienced his version of Lois Lane dying in his arms.
Yeah.
And it is one of the saddest, most emotional things I've ever seen in a DC book. I wept like a baby.
For me, it was, and I can't remember. I know Jason knows the issue. It's a recent issue of Avengers. It was during the beginning of Civil War, where it was Luke Cage fighting off the bastards trying to capture him, and you think he's going to go down, and he makes it at the end.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and I really did. I really shed
Jessica
tears.
Jones is watching it on TV,
Yes.
and she's like, that's my man.
Yeah, that really got me. And
that was good stuff.
Before that, I think I was in high school at the time I read it. It was the issue where Elektra died, where she got killed by Bullseye and staggered all the way to Matt Murdock and died in his arms.
You know, I just thought of like just this like weird ass example because it's not from any like piece of like, you know, high art from comic book standards by any stretch of the imagination. It's this Marvel team up with Human Torch and Spider-Man. They're fighting the Speed Demon.
Yeah.
And like the Speed Demon like knocks the crap out of Human Torch. And all of a sudden Spider-Man, like, the jokes are gone. He just turns around and says, "Hey, the Human Torch and I Johnny and I might write each other a lot, but deep down, we're really good friends, and you just fucked with my friend."
That's kind of like
and
if
he just goes after him, balls out, and yeah, you're just.
That'd be like if anyone gave Padawan shit on Spill. I'd be like, "Hey,
exactly,
yeah,
motherfucker."
You do that.
It's funny how often
But
that
no,
kind of thing
right
happens.
here, it's just like, okay, let's.
We can give you shit,
Yes,
but
you're here for it.
that's not anybody else's prerogative.
I actually have two that are from a run that I largely dislike, especially the way it ended. It's from Straczynski's run on Amazing Spider-Man. See, there are two moments in there that, I mean, for all the huge problems that run had, there are two moments, and one of them is where he helped out Doctor Strange, where Spider-Man helped out Doctor Strange.
Sure.
And he hands, he's up on the rooftop of some building, and he's like, "Oh, here, for helping me, I have this for you, Peter." And he hands him this, like, golden ornate box. And he's like, "What's this?" And Doctor Strange says, "I'm going to step away for a minute. You've got 5 minutes." And Doctor Strange leaves. Peter opens it, and he gets 5 minutes to talk to Uncle Ben.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was very touching.
It was really good. And then there was something that was not quite as emotional, but it was still really cool. And Peter's just having this offhanded conversation with Mary Jane, talking about how, oh yeah, you know, all of us, the hero types, we look at each other like, you know, God, what if he goes crazy? You know, we always think about it.
Yeah,
what are we
that
going
was
to do?
cool.
What are we going to do if he goes nuts? What are we going to do if he, you know, like the Hulk? I mean, you know, God, if I had to take down the Hulk, and blah, 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 blah. And Mary Jane's like, whoa. Wait, you just said, could you beat the Hulk? And there's a frame where he's just sitting there for a minute quiet, not looking directly at her. And then he looks up and he says, yeah, I could.
Yeah.
But I'd have to kill him. And I don't want to think about that right now.
So it was such a cool thing to to go through that. To like they all have to think that about each other. Like, if I have to deactivate this guy, this is what I have to do.
And that's a thing that always gets me, and it's been used by many writers, and it never fucking fails. Anytime Clark gets through to Bruce, not Superman to Batman, Clark to fucking Bruce, and they get that eye contact, and they're like, despite the fact that we are completely diametrically opposed, you're probably my best friend.
Well,
that just fucking slays.
That's one of the best
any
moments
fucking time
in The Dark Knight Returns.
Absolutely.
Is where they're fighting, and he's like, "Bruce, your heart."
And he's just like, "God damn it, Clark."
So I guess Grant, your favorite is sometime when Midnighter and Apollo were ass fucking.
Well, sadly enough, you know, that is Bruce and Clark.
That's
Wildstorm, it's DC. That's not a coincidence.
I don't actually recall any time where I'm emotionally dead.
You are.
But wait, there's a point in book 7 when Dobby dies. That was just heart-wrenching for me.
Okay, turn your mic off and prepare
You know,
to die.
I think between the Halloween costume and this, Grant's made it pretty obvious that he is a Skrull or at least an alien of some sort, and we should take him out back, beat him to death, burn him, and then pee on him just to be sure.
I'm going to shoot you in the face in front of a camera, Norman Osborn style.
Yeah, seriously, I can't think of any time I've cried in a comic. The most emotional I've been is that Preacher moment.
I'm so telling your wife. I'm so telling her.
His wife doesn't even know he reads comics. He's not allowed.
Not only is he gay, but he's unemotionally available. How can you be those two things at once?
You gay robot?
Hey!
Get to the chopper! And he pulls it out for the win, which is as good a moment as any to end LEOG Volume 2, Issue number 4. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to Randy for letting us be here at Rogues Comics. Thank you for Chris for having us. Rogues Gallery. Thank you, Chris, for letting us come to Staple and hang out and probably annoy the hell out of the comic book people there.
Yeah, if you're hearing this tomorrow, come down to the Monarch Event Center for Staple.
By all means.
Meet the comic folk. Meet us. $5, gumbo.
March 7th.
Yeah, how can you miss, really? We promise, you can make fun of Padawan under a controlled circumstance.
And Leon will show you his nipples after the 5th drink. It's completely true.
5th? He's shirtless now. All right, guys. Well, that's it. We're going to let Greg play us out, but first there's one thing I got to say. Long live the League.
Long live the League.
Is that Deep Blue Something song?
That's Boston.
Wait, is Samuel L. Jackson about to get eaten by a shark?